There we go. Time is now 9:19 a.m. I do hereby call to order this regular meeting of the Board of County Commissioners, Thursday, January 11th, 2024. We are at the Teller County Centennial Building, 112 North A Street. It seems like it's a little hot. It is. I guess it'll stay hot.
Just you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, and actually, I forgot to ask ahead of time, but Barb, when we get to the Pledge of Allegiance, would you do us the honor of leading us in the pledge?
I'd be happy.
Very good, thank you. We're going to start off with an invocation led by Commissioner Williams and then the Pledge of Allegiance led by Mayor Manning.
Please bow your heads. Your Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us through last year. Thank you for the opportunity to lead and serve the great country that we live in, and serve our county and our residents in this coming year. We ask that you be with the family of Jeff Garlick, who passed recently this week, worked for Public Works, and be with his wife Tracy and her children. Now be with us as we go forward to reorganization with the issues and focus on the challenges and the opportunities that we have in his name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mayor. And the first thing on our agenda is the election of Board of County Commissioners Chair and Vice Chair. It's a tradition here in Teller County, unlike a lot of other counties. We rotate the chair position because all of our positions are co-equal. And so everybody from year to year, we rotate this over. But in stepping out, I just want to thank you two gentlemen for my year as chair. We got a lot done. And, you know, we didn't blow out of any meetings, so I guess I passed. I'm not being demoted. And at this time, we will move on to the election of Board of County Commissioners for Chair and Vice Chair. I would like to nominate Bob Campbell to be the next chair and for Dan Williams to be the next vice chair. I'll do it all in one motion of the Teller County Board of County Commissioners for 2024.
And I would second that motion. And I would just like to congratulate you for the job well done, for your partnership. We know you had some health challenges that you've been open with, and never slow down a minute to thank you for all your work at the legislature. We'll talk about it today, but you can thank Eric Stone for Senate Bill 108, and the good news will be giving you back today on property taxes. So thank you for your continued friendship for the many years.
Thank you, Dan.
I'd just like to say, great job. It's always interesting when you start your year and you set your goals, but what pops up, what we don't know ahead of time is what we deal with seemingly every day, sometimes on a weekly basis. So thank you so much for handling all that. I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. And with no further discussion, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Mr. Bloom,
Yes.
Mr. Stone.
Yes. And now we'll do the fire drill. Did you drink out of that glass, Commissioner Kenny?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
I did touch my coffee.
A little extra something of mine.
Straight through.
How much room down this?
All right. Agendas, we have some minutes of previous meetings. And because the clerk was a little bit involved for a few weeks with elections, we're now up to date, and not an issue on my part, but thank you so much for. We will begin with minutes from the November 9th meeting. I think it's the first one, we're down 6.
And Mr. Chair, with your permission, I'd like to make a motion, unless there's Commissioner Williams has any corrections. I don't have any corrections. I'd like to make a motion on all 5 of these, if that is okay with you, sir.
I don't have any, I think that's great, and I don't have any corrections either.
I do not have any corrections on anything, so.
Okay, yeah, I've reviewed, and this is, so I guess I'll explain what we're doing as part of the motion, but I would move to approve the minutes of proceedings of the Board of County Commissioners, minutes as presented for October 26, 2023, November 9th, 2023, November 16th, 2023, December 7th, 2023, and also the minutes of our work session held on December 19th, 2023, all as presented.
Second the motion, Mr. Chair.
Great, I appreciate that. So we got like 5 sets there. Any further discussion needed?
No, sir.
All right. Ms. Clerk, roll call, please.
Mr. Stone,
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Campbell.
Yes. Thank you so much. Since we got a lot to do, that was much appreciated. Next, we have accounts payable.
Chair, I've reviewed the accounts payable. I have it here before me. I don't have any questions. I know traditionally you like to highlight certain things on it, or Commissioner Stone.
Yeah, I think I don't have any comments, but I have reviewed and approved the accounts payable.
Yeah, it's fairly significant. It's 1.3 million. I just like to point out a couple 3. That obviously, once a month, we have our sales tax payment in there, which is $200,928. We've got some vehicles on there from Ken Graff Ford, which is $177,500. And then we have a couple health insurance payments. Beginning the new year with our new benefit program and switching our brokerage and switching our coverages. We have some upfront costs that had to be paid, so there's a significant number in that pile also. I just was putting those out as significant dollars. Because there's 3 runs on that particular account. That's all I have to say. Any further discussion needed?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Roll call, Ms. Clerk.
Would you like to make a motion?
Oh, I thought you did.
Yeah, no. Just
Go ahead.
Chair, I make a motion that we approve the accounts payable dated January 11th, 2024, the amount of $1,313,371.46.
Second.
All right. Now, any further discussion?
No, sir.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Stone,
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Campbell.
Yes. All right. Next up, Mr. Stone, we'll begin on some board reports.
Great, thank you very much, Commissioner Campbell. Well, things are heating up again. I'm not sure they ever really cooled off that much, but the legislature came back into session yesterday. We're tracking a lot of bills, also helping to sponsor a lot of bills this legislative session. The key one that I've been working on for about 8 months now, and we do have a sponsor for it, is for a reform of the construction defects law in Colorado. And basically what that construction defects law does is it basically assigns and limits the liability of builders and what has to be done, among other things. The big piece of this on the construction defects law is the liability terms and the regulations around condominium projects. And currently, with the way that those are written, and have been that way for about 20 years now, is it's nearly impossible to build any form of legal condominium complex. And in your mind, you probably think of condos as, like a high-rise thing with, apartments that are privately held. But the reality is that there's, it's shared ownership of the land, but then you have private ownership of, of the improvement on the land. And it can be anything from like what we have here in Cripple Creek, over at Burrow Ranch, is that right? Yeah, Burrow Ranch, which are condominiums built back in the 80s. In Woodland Park, you've got the Woodland Village over there, which are condominiums that look more like townhomes. But it can take a lot of different forms. But the reality is, as we all know, is we have an affordable housing issue, not just in Teller County, but throughout the state of Colorado. And part of that, not all of it, obviously, but part of that is the inability of builders to build condominium projects that allow either folks that are wanting to simplify their lives and move into more of a maintenance-free lifestyle and downsize, opening up those homes for families that want to grow. Those people are leaving and going to Arizona and Florida and places like that because they can have that maintenance-free lifestyle and maybe a little warmth that they don't get this time of year in those places. But nonetheless, It's just not even an opportunity here in Colorado. It's something that we need to fix. And I actually have a Democrat sponsor on this bill, which gives me great hope that we'll be able to put it through. And that's really the key right now with the legislature that we have, with them holding a supermajority in the House and a near supermajority in the Senate, is that we have got to figure out ways to build relationships with legislators, because the only way we're going to get things done is through relationships. If we stand only on what party we're in, or just basically when you're not in power, you pretty much don't have anything to stand on. So the only way you can move forward is to build relationships, and that's something that this Board of County Commissioners has really excelled at. I would say even with the last legislative session that we went through, there were a lot of things that came out of it that we really didn't like. I came out of that session feeling like we won, even though we were in the minority. So we did a lot of good work there. Couple of updates for you gentlemen, for the public. PPCG held its organizational meeting yesterday. I was reelected as treasurer for PPCG, so I'll continue on in that leadership position. Also, will continue on as co-chair of the legislative committee for Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments. And there are some from PPACG and through CDOT, there are a couple of projects that are coming in 2024 and 2025 in Teller County, including some improvements on North Highway 67 out of Woodland Park. There'll be some resurfacing going on there, either 2024 or 2025. They're trying to, I think it might end up now getting pushed into the summer of 2025, but they have found the funding for it, so that's good news. What else? And I guess also just in being transparent about my health, just so that people know, is I was diagnosed in November with something called hairy cell leukemia, which is very, very rare. And the good news is, in the words of my doctor, was that if you had to stick in your hand the great grab bag of cancers and pull one out, this is a pretty good one. And I actually completed all the chemotherapy in November, all in 1 week. But the net result of that was I had about 3 weeks in December where I wasn't allowed to be in public. So I attended meetings via Zoom whenever those were available, which is most meetings now are hybrid, so you can always do that. And I really didn't miss much of anything. I actually testified at the legislature while getting chemo one day. That was interesting. But anyway, 6 weeks now after having done chemo, I'm already into remission. We'll find out in about 3 months the durability of what that looks like for the future. But the reality is likelihood it'll be a decade or more of remission. And then, if it ever raises its head again, they just do the same thing and put it back into remission. So it's an amazing time, really, to be alive. If cancer touches everybody, and I don't know a single person that doesn't have an experienced cancer somewhere in their family or friendships. It's treated in different ways, but compared to the outlook even 20 years ago, I know I have family members as well as friends who are all, fighting the cancer fight or have already beat it. And the protocols and therapies that they have now are amazing, and it's only going to get better as we move into the future. So just wanted people in transparency to know that, that there was and is that challenge. And I've got a couple more treatments left, which are minor, that will happen in the next 10 days. And then I'm done, hopefully, for a decade or more, which is great. But I want to thank very much, my fellow commissioners. There was 1 week when I was doing chemotherapy where we happened to hold 2 meetings that I did have to miss because I was getting chemotherapy every day. So I appreciate these gentlemen, picking up the ball and taking care of it, just like we did when, Commissioner Williams had his surgery last year. So appreciate you guys, appreciate Ross and county attorney, our clerk, everybody for their support. And I also want to thank the public. I've received so many cards, letters, so many friends here in the county that have offered rides and given rides, brought meals. And even though, it's funny because you put out the word that for people to drop off meals, be careful what you ask for, because you get a lot in Teller County. You will get a lot. So beyond that, though, from an organizational standpoint, we're ramping up. Things are moving quickly, and again, just thanks to everybody. And guess I'll stop it there. Oh, also, just one comment I would like to make though also, and maybe the chair was already gonna make a comment, but I'll do it, is that part of our transparency push and modernization push and the professionalism push that we've been making since this board was elected and seated included an upgrade of our website, which started this last fall. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Also included a new URL for the county instead of that long, weird for those of us who were in school back in the 1980s, when, you know, the internet really did first start for us, is they had classes where they taught you what all these different things meant, the co.teller.gov.us and all these dots, and then now it's just tellercounty.gov, which is really easy to remember now. So, but as part of that though, you know, during the pandemic, we started streaming meetings, or the previous commission started streaming meetings. And now starting with this meeting today, those meetings are going to be recorded and then posted up on the website. So that if people aren't able to come to the meetings or just want to review the business that the commission has done, they'll be able to do that. I'm a little ashamed because we're the last of the bodies, I think, in Teller County to record and post the video of the meeting. It's late coming, but a big part of that was we needed a good workable website that was easy to update in order to post those up too, but we are starting that today. And Mr. Chair, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner. Mr. Vice Chair, Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I just want to begin my comments by just congratulating Eric again for a great job, and just to assure the public, you know, we're both running for office again, that we've got another year until that starts. It's obviously starting now. And Eric is very much into the campaign season. He's very good. And even though he was on chemo, he's not joking. You know, we talked every day. He's very involved. He never gave up. He's got a big brain and an even bigger heart. And so just a real good role model, a good example for when my life cuts you down, you can still drive on, and he's back and never went anywhere. And I appreciate it, Eric. Really appreciate your friendship.
Thanks, Dan.
We'll begin by just saying Happy New Year. This is our first hearing of the year. Really happy to see both of our mayors here. Thank you so much. And Madam Mayor, Annie Durham from Cripple Creek, were able to watch your swearing in the other day, which is really something. And Madam Mayor Barb Manning and your Buck, and thank you, Glory. Thanks for being here. We're at her hearing on the 8th of January. So very much the county commissioners want to maintain, but also reinvigorate the relationship in a whole bunch of areas, and we'll talk about that. But essentially, both of your towns are like the rest of this county, where we're facing decisions every day between what we maintain and what we grow. And I always remind everybody, I think, in my comments to Mayor Durham's swearing in, we're not anti-growth. I think we need the growth here. I mean, look, this week we've got, or last week we had the opening of the largest hotel in the Pikes Peak region. We now have a marijuana establishment, and I did talk to both those business owners, wish them well, because anybody that is an entrepreneur puts their life out and their life savings out and hopes to get a profit and also become part of the community. And then, of course, we have ice castles, and I think I've been fighting traffic or trying to get a seat at the creek ever since. And so I've been talking to a lot of you are entrepreneurs and folks, and both good, bad, and positive, but it's all good, but it's dizzying. And so whenever I find myself as an old planner, an old military guy being dizzy, it's because it doesn't feel deliberate, you know. And so, and I know both, we've talked to the mayors before, so we're looking forward to the partnership. We've got a lot of exciting things coming in 2024 too. And again, it's an honor to have both of you here. It means a lot. A little bit about Purple Heart. When we last talked, you know, the county's a designated Purple Heart community and trail. I was really pleased. Thank you again for Victor. They are now also a Purple Heart community as of the 8th. There'll be a ceremony that'll be announced by Victor that we'd like to go to. And then our Mayor of Cripple Creek, Annie, has got one that's planned for the 21st. We're also working with Representative Luck and Senator Baisley to formally do 67 and 24. There's a formality to it in the resolution that they do at the General Assembly. That's working through, and thank you, Ross, for your work on that. And that sends a very powerful message to over 6,000 veterans that call this place home and their families, and also those veterans that pass through. It has a lot of things. So thank you so much for that. I was reading this morning. Some of you might have seen the sunrise. It was pretty incredible this morning. It was this like beam of light. And I got to say, I don't know if it was Victor or Cripple Creek, one of you guys had the hand of God on you from my perspective. And immediately when I saw it, I got 3 text messages, and it was, did we just have a nuclear strike? Exactly what it looked like when it right over. So I do say that because I'm reminded that in June of 1858, when he was running for Senate at the time, Abraham Lincoln, that was very famous in and basically saying what I go to whenever I look at times of future and hope and promise and also times of division. And you guys know what I'm going to say, but it was the House divided speech. And what I'm proud of each and every one of you, both you, Annie, and both you, Barb, is that you ran clean races. We had some other examples in this county. We have examples in the state right now. It's going to get ugly with 3 congressional districts open. You've already seen it. And of course, we have a presidential year. But thanks for running a clean race. Thanks for talking about the people of your communities, the positive things you were going to bring to it instead of tearing down your opponents, because that does no good. In fact, when I vote, and I think I could speak for my fellow commissioners, I don't listen to the people that attack people. I listen to the people that offer me solutions and a reason to vote for them. So I think you guys really led from the front, and the rest of the county could take an example of it. Eric and I are obviously running for re-election, and we take a strong example from you, so I really appreciate it. Just a few things that Eric already hit on. The legislative season started, I guess, yesterday, Eric, but rest assured that we've been working with legislators nonstop. It's never stopped. So if you recall last year for me, we each have a portfolio. I'm sort of the land use guy. Last year, we strongly supported local control and won. We strongly supported rural values. Again, just to remind you, 75% of Colorado's rural frontier, yet only 800,000 people live up here. 5 million of them live down there. And so if you're in the Springs, they have some, or Denver or Arapahoe, they have real issues down. Traffic, transportation, food, water, housing. And those are Colorado issues, and we're proud to be part of it. And as Eric said, in the supermajority, you have to be part of that. So we regularly go up there to support nonpartisan stuff that we can, or even partisan stuff that benefits it. The challenge we have is when they try to fix their problems. And again, your average legislator up in Denver today is 27 years old, has never been a mayor, a council person, a school board member. They don't have any local control experience, and yet they're idealists. And so the world ought to be a certain way. So they take a sledgehammer approach to everything. So the 3 of us have to often do this to hold the sledgehammer back and then use the scalpel to fix the problem. And so we've got a lot of success, as Eric said, on local control and rural issues. This year, I'm facing 5 bills. So far, the 5 bills are not directed at rural Colorado, protected. But you never know what you're going to see when the horse trading starts. And they have to do with accessory dwelling units, building affordable housing next to transportation nodes. If I looked at Annie and said, "Where's your transportation node?" or Victor, you'd laugh at me. I mean, we don't have any trains up here. We don't have buses up here, and we have what we need, but we're just different. And so I'll continue to fight for us in that realm. To that end, other things, I'll be traveling to DC in the beginning of February for NACO, which is the National Association of Counties. So I represent Teller County, CCI, and Colorado on public lands. So I get a chance to sit down with the BLM director, sit down with the chief of forest, the secretaries of both agriculture and the interior, to talk about the things that we're seeing here, which is quite frankly benign neglect of our forests, from forest health to the fact that we have 1 sawmill left in Colorado, and yet we're trying to mitigate it to Catamount. We've got to take stuff to Montrose to have it shut. I mean, this is crazy. And then of course we have the enforcement issues that are out there. So I'll continue that. Continue to watch the clean energy move that the federal government has. We're not against clean energy. I have solar panels at my place, for example, but this would be where we take large chunks of BLM or forest away from the public and then fence it off and put solar panels there. And then is that okay? And that's a rhetorical question. And then where do we run the transmission line? So that active work is still going on with Governor Ritter, and I'm on that board as well. In terms of maintaining rural control, rural lifestyle, I'll just be honest, whether you're a hunter or not a hunter, I announced last month that I was selected to sit on the CPW Wildlife Council. I'm already dealing with the wolf issue, as you know. Now they want to bring wolverines up here, and one that we're very concerned about. And if you don't know, the Wildlife Council was created in 1998. It's statutory. It was a result of taking away spring bear season and then doing away with trapping. And no matter how you feel about that personally, what the state did at that time, the governor, the legislature, both parties said, hold it. We have a hunting culture up here. We have a North American model. We trust DNR and CPW to maintain this stuff. And of course, as you know, licenses pay for a lot of this. With the melding of BOW and parks, I can tell you that most of the parks you go to are sustained because of hunters. And so that aside, this year, we do believe there'll be a ballot initiative that I'm fighting right now and we're working on. We've already got the title board to change a few words for cougar, lynx, and bobcat. And you remember that a few years ago, I think 2 years ago, Eric, we were up there, commissioners went up there, we argued against that bill and defeated it, mainly under the premise of there's already an organization that handles that, DNR. This time, if they put it on the ballot with 5 million people on the Front Range, I can tell you what's going to happen. And so that's an issue for us of not so much hunting and fishing, although it is, but also local control and reminding 5 million people that 800,000 of us have this resource up here that we're protecting for all of Colorado. So that's a big one. Another emotional one, SSP and Southern Shooting Partnership. I've been on that board for almost 9 years now, including when I was a county employee. That's the initiative that says, look, there's 1 million acres in Pike National Forest. It's joint use, so you can watch birds, you can take your kids hiking. We also have shooting out there, fishing, etc. As you know, there's an anti-shooting move in some corners. So it's an amendment issue for other people. So we've been working that very, very friendly. Public comment is closed. The decision will be made on whether they close all or part of Pike National Forest. The rumor is just part. And in place of that, to shooting, and in place of that, they should have 7 ranges where folks that really want to shoot high volume in a safe way can go. We were alarmed that right before Christmas, we were asked for an opinion, both Teller County Park and Douglas County. We caught it quick to kind of see where they were headed with what's called the NEPA study. It was very negative. It was very sort of, for example, and I don't go take a lot of your time. I can certainly talk to Trevor or Pat offline, but for example, one of the things they thought about after listening to everybody was, okay, if there's an incident behind where Crystal Brown lives, we're just going to go ahead and close that. Now think about that in terms of traffic. If you have an accident on 67, they're going to close 67 until they can get people out of there, clean up the mess, but they're not going to close the highway. So there was a lot of stuff that all of a sudden filtered into the document. Well, your county commissioners were able to write a, I think, 15-page letter, join forces with Douglas County commissioners and Park County to send that up. And so we're all anxiously waiting to find out what happens. I would expect to see closures around subdivisions for a certain ring within the forest, but the majority of the forest should stay open. And then a movement up to 7 ranges. One of those would be in Teller County between Douglas and here in that's Turkey Track. So we'll continue to watch that very quickly. Lastly, 2 last things, we have some growth plan for Divide. You'll hear about it. We worked really hard last year, the 3 of us with CDPHE, which was incredible. They were 10,000 permits behind to try and get our wastewater treatment plant expanded. As you know, that's the cork in the bottle, to use Eric's term, and we don't want to be that cork. We're certainly not, pushing private sector, but we like to build a service center. The benefit of that would also be a couple of PUD owners. These are planned units of development on both sides of the street and Divide that people have bought and had approved for years, looking at affordable housing, some light commercial. So we hope to see that move, and hopefully you'll see that as well. And then finally, again, just to say thank you to both of you, Mr. Chair, yourself, and the rest of the team here, and you, Eric, just for the camaraderie. I don't think you'll ever see us fighting about anything. We talk about a lot of things, but I think we keep the good of this county in the forefront. So thank you. That's a lot, Mr. Chair. I'll turn over to you, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen. I'd just like to say thank you for this team camaraderie. We've got lots of talents. We got different emphasis that we all do, and we've made some of those allocations about boards and committees and legislative issues and strengths. And because we do that, we don't step on each other's toes. We let each other's run in our own lane, so to speak. And it's one of the best scenarios that I've been involved with, and I've been involved in lots of scenarios from the county commissioner role and even as my role as treasurer in previous years. This really works, and I'm so thankful to work with this team. It's a great situation, and we discuss things, and sometimes we disagree, but we work it out, come out of these meetings and work sessions, and we have one face moving forward and one public voice. And that's one of the strengths that we're able to provide. We all work together. It's a great scenario to be with, including with Ross, our county administrator, and our legal counsel, Mr. Hercom. It's a great scenario that we're able to enjoy in this county, let alone all the directors, and we'll announce and get into some of our directors in the future. But we all contribute. I think we've all got 8 or 10 different boards and committees we serve on, either locally or statewide and even nationally, because I think we've all got some national affiliation boards that we serve on. It's just a really enjoyable process. It makes this job easy to do, because all we have to do is look to some of our fellow counties around the state and realize how that can be in a different scenario real quickly. And I'm so thankful that we've got the scenario that we do where we work together. So thank you so much, gentlemen. I've got probably 20 things on my list, and I think I'm going to focus on just 1 or 2 of them. Been busy over the last few weeks with lots of communities and boards that we all serve on, anywhere from the Workforce Center to Community Partnership to Kiwanis to CTSI, our insurance group, working with CCI. We'll see this next week, but I may be in leadership position with CCI for our tax and finance. And jumping into that, this year is going to have a lot of tax and finance bills brought in front of the legislature, of which a few of them we've seen some draft documents, but no final documents. But part of that relates to our property taxes in the state, because as you know, the special session did basically a minor fix on a 1 year limited time frame, and they created a task force statewide, which we were able to affect the bill and get 5 community county commissioners involved in that task force, and they were charged with solving the long-term tax issue as it relates to property taxes. And that property tax issue affects not just counties, but it obviously affects cities, it affects our boards throughout the community, anywhere from library groups to ambulance services, to water districts, to fire districts, special conservation districts, etc. All these districts have real estate property taxes, and all that money that is dealt with and decided on by the state legislature and sometimes by state referendums is all local money. None of it goes to the state, but yet they're in charge of creating the policy and the concepts behind it. Since Gallagher was repealed a few years ago in a Tabor issue, they haven't come up with a fix on how to do some of the balancing and moderation of how property taxes works and the percentages of assessed value. But yet they're in charge of setting the policy, and I don't know what this task force is going to come up with, but I'm thinking, just from the wisdom of being around involved and being involved in property tax issues for many, many years, I don't know that they're going to come up with a magic bullet to solve this issue. But in the meantime, we're going to see lots of attempts by the legislature to deal with what I would say is our local turf. It's our property taxes, it's our revenue streams for all of our local services. It's the services that provide the goods and the services throughout the community that are closest to us. And they're going to have the policy direction on what that looks like. And amongst that, if the state legislature and or the governor, et cetera, doesn't come up with something that's palatable to the taxpayers of this state, you'll see referendums to the ballot, which will be a broad sweep, a one-size-fits-all issue. And with property taxes, it can't be a one-size-fits-all, because we all have different needs, we have different types of services we provide, we have different sizes, we have different items that locales between counties and cities provide that don't have special districts in the metropolitan areas. But in rural areas, we have special districts that provide all those services. Like there's ambulances and medical services and fire districts that cities provide that in lots of places of the state. And they tend to forget that when they create some statewide policies. So it'll be a challenging year. I think my path to lead the Tax and Finance Committee at CCI is probably already decided, and I will be honored to lead that process. But it's going to be a challenging year when it comes to tax and finance issues and property taxes in that segment. In CCI, I think we have 9 different committees that we all serve on with different expertises and different policies issues where we go out and lobby and push different issues. So it'll be a challenging year in the legislature, which is sometimes fun and it's encouraging because we can affect the outcomes, but it also means there are plenty of times we got to go up to Denver all the time. And that's not always a pleasant situation, especially at the legislature when we've experienced some of those situations. So it'll be an interesting year. One thing else I'd like to mention, in December, county commissioners toured the Teller County Detention Facility, which we refer to as our jail. Statutory, we are required to have an oversight on that facility once a year. It was a good tour. We got to see some of the things that are going on, some of the improvements. And it's always a clean, very well organized structure. I think at the last check-in we had, they were fully staffed. And based on our capital projections that we had this year in projects, we're gonna get them a new, I guess you saw it, control center. So it'll be much more modernization and they'll be able to do that because I don't know if most of you guys know, because you don't spend time in our jails, at least most of you probably don't. It's a control center. Excuse me here. It's a control center where somebody has a pod and you're in the center and you can watch all 5 pods of the jail from one control center. And during that, you have control of keys, you have controls of lights and distribution of radios and all the mechanics that are involved in that. And that control center was literally being held together by some duct tape because we had improved it over the years, but each improvement wasn't total redo. And this next year, we'll be able to get that accomplished. They're gonna be starting on that here pretty toot sweet. It's a few $100,000 on our part, but it would be a great improvement for the operations of the jail. But if nothing else, it also improves the safety of the inmates. And more significantly, it improves the safety of each of our deputies who have to work in there. And sometimes in that jail, they have to face situations on a daily basis where it is a threat to their safety and they've got to get response and they've got to get timely control of what's going on. So I'm looking forward to see that in that facility. As you know, we've already worked through all the decisions in our budgets and we're set to go for that. So I think it'd be a great year and we spent lots of time working on issues and we'll talk about the property tax issues later on in the agenda. But the last thing I'd like to point out is we all got to attend our swearing in of our new Teller County Treasurer. Crystal Brown, congratulations. And we also have an agenda item based on that. But congratulations on your new role over there. You're following some big shoes, obviously, when Mr. Salusa retired and resigned. It's been a pleasure working with you and I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes in the future. I'm sure it'll be excellent. She's dedicated to the citizens of Teller County. And yes, she is the county banker, so to speak. She runs all the funds for the assets and investments for the treasurer's office, but it's also a customer service office. And as we've learned over the years with her experience in the clerk and recorders, she is very dedicated to the service of the people because that's who pays the bills. Those monies come in and none of our taxpayer monies are our monies. It's all taxpayer monies. So I'm looking forward to your success in that role and congratulations.
Thank you.
It was a good swearing in and ceremony. Judge Sells was honored to come over there and do that. So thank you so much for stepping up.
Thank you.
I could go on for probably another half hour, but we got lots of agenda items to do today. So I think I'll leave it at that. Next up, we have elected officials in the room. Does any of our elected officials have some comments they'd like to bring to the table? Thank you, Carol. What else we've got? Crystal?
Good morning. I would just like to say thank you and Happy New Year, and I'm excited to be here. So thank you for that, Commissioner Campbell, and I look forward to working with you all. So thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. And we are going to introduce each of our city officials here today. But in the meantime, do either one of our mayors want to say anything publicly before the introductions during our organizational meeting?
I would just also like to echo what Crystal said. Thank you very much for all your support. I've worked with the city of Victor for 4 years now, and I have never had an issue that you folks wouldn't back me up on, and I appreciate that immensely. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
I guess just to mirror Crystal and Barb, feel like over the last several years, we've developed a great relationship with each other, and now working in this capacity, I'm very optimistic about moving forward. So I just look forward to that collaboration, and thank you very much for the invite this morning. I'm happy to be here. So that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Stephanie, Clerk and Recorder, do you have any updates from an elected official standpoint?
I do.
Second, so I'm super excited. Just an update on the upcoming election in March, the 2024 presidential primary election. I don't know, we have one candidate drop out as of yesterday, Chris filed the paperwork in the state of Colorado yet, but I don't foresee him withdrawing his withdrawal. We're still waiting for a ruling from the United States Supreme Court as to whether Mr. Trump will be counted on the ballot. So we're waiting for that. Ballots will go out to the military and overseas citizens just soon. And ballots will go into the mail, domestic ballots on February 16th. Early voting starts, it's at the Woodland Park Library on the 26th, and election date is March 5th. So make sure you get your ballots turned in because we're excited to count them. That's all I have.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. We appreciate all your work and just got done with one election and starting to ramp up all over again.
This year they all bleed together, there's three, so. And I would like to say congratulations to Crystal Brown. I miss her already, but it was a good sacrifice, I guess.
And she's
Thank
just
you.
across the hall.
I tootle over there.
Thank you so much. Next up, Mr. Herzog, Administrator's Report.
Thank you, Sarah. Doing some grants right now, which is with grants in the strategic plan as well.
Mr. Chair.
Sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Ross for his leadership that Eric mentioned before. We have a continued desire to professionalize county government. Not that we've never been professional, but get those things that we finally have time to do. And so with regards to the rural realities, for those of you who grew up here, people like me, or even folks that were associated with the government 25, 30 years ago, there was this neat little pamphlet you'd get, you hold up, realtors would hand them out. It'd say, "Welcome to Teller County. This is how we roll." And that's basically what it says. There was some humor in there, some tongue in cheek about when do deer turn into elk, that kind of thing. But the fact that we have dirt roads here, we're very proud of those dirt roads, because that prevents us from getting calls about when is my road going to be paved. How you get services or serious stuff in there about zoning, for example. And so part of that effort, I'll be talking to the Realtors Association next Tuesday morning, just to really remind them that profit is a motivator. I get it. You want to sell property and raw land, but it comes with the responsibility to tell potential residents what this place is like. We've had an uptick in code enforcement and we're working on that. So I really appreciate that. With regards to his comment on grants, Mr. Chair, as you know, we've authorized Ross to go forward and find a grant writer. That'll be, I guess, a contract application. It'll probably pay for itself on the first grant. Up until now, each and every one of our department heads, elected officials, have written their own grants. But part of professionalizing that is just saying, what's the need? And we'll have an expert do it. I think Woodland Park has done it. I think probably Victor, I know Cripple Creek's done it. So like Eric said, we're sort of the last ones after we studied you guys. We're going to go ahead and professionalize that. So thank you, Ross. Final point is we did have that death that I mentioned in the prayer of Jeff Garflick and his wife Tracy's in mourning with their children. He's a public works guy trying to get to work. And I always remember, because I have a neighbor that was a county employee, and I'd watch him on the worst snow days trying to get out so he could go get a snowplow so he could make the rest of it safe. And this gentleman had what looks like might be a heart attack before he went to work. And so he passed. But thank you for your leadership, Ross, in that. And thank you for keeping us informed and reaching out to his family. And that, if you know Fred Clifford in Public Works, that team is hurting now because they've lost one of their own. So thank you for your leadership, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Herzog.
no additional.
Right, we'll move on to time reserved for public that don't have items on the agenda. Oh, I'm sorry, yes, following my own agenda. I'll get used to this here. Department heads, do we have department heads that would like to present any information? Tim, Vicky, Ivy? All right, now we'll move on to time for public comment, the items that are not on the agenda. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Happy New Year to everyone and congratulations, Crystal.
Thank you.
I'm Scott Marshall. And I guess 2 months ago, I talked to you all about liquid oxygen and how Colorado pretty much gave up on it. I gave you a pamphlet of some of the laws that need to change in order to make this happen, where everybody can have oxygen freedom. I did find out about why they quit delivering it at the fire department is because the FDA made it a prescription now. Just to breathe oxygen, you gotta have a prescription. It's pretty nuts with someone that wants to be active and can't. So I am going ahead with my nonprofit so I can get TV ads out on the news to what we're doing to our older people. And if we had filling stations where we could take our canister and there were 2 or 3 around Woodland Park that we could put in an ID card and open the door and fill up, we wouldn't need to haul tanks around with us. There's also a need for technical oxygen people. There are none. There's 1 in Teller on this side of Monument and 2 in Denver on that side of Monument. That's where Annie, the trade school, maybe we can put some classes together to get some techs trained. Whether it's scholarships through my nonprofit that pays for that, I don't care. We just need to do something about it, and shorter term limits. You had mentioned the hunting also. I can't shoot a muzzle loader because of the liquid oxygen. I'd like to increase the caliber size to 50 cal on air rifles. They make noise. So if you're worried about them being silent, they're not. But it'd be a great alternative for disabled people that didn't want to shoot with sparks around their nose, you know? It's not a good thing to blow up. So that's all I have to say. And I would like to have a meeting, whether on your next work session, to talk about another issue that means a lot, and it's the future of Cripple Creek and the mine. We've discussed it. They canceled their meeting with me because I could never get a schedule where the mayors could come with me. They wouldn't do a Friday, and that's the only day Annie has off, so I would like to have a meeting with them. They'll probably call me next Monday requesting one again, so maybe. That's all I have to say.
Hey, Scott, will you stay up there for a minute? Hey, Scott.
Yes, sir.
Just with regards to your question, I will bring that up to CPW. That's come up before for most handicapped folks are using, and again, ambulatory are using crossbows and things like that. But I will bring that up with regards to oxygen. I think I told you before, my dad lives on it, in assisted living with dementia. My mom had an operation this week. I saw the importance of it. All 3 commissioners met with and Ross met with our medical directors. This is one of the primary issues that we brought up, and it's an imagination failure right now in terms of we've got medical facilities up here that all have oxygen. Could we have a transfer station? Could we? So they have that. They're chewing on that as well as EMS council. I think, Ross, we task those guys. We own the council, and of course the medical directors work for us. So they'll come back in the immediate future, next month or so, present what we believe is some really good news across the board. There's about 5 major initiatives that most residents don't know that's happening up here, from mental health improvements to availability of certain services. And we expect oxygen to be one of those things we're going to talk about. So I'll make sure you're informed about that. In regards to the mine, we're tracking that issue. I will personally call Katie again and make sure that you guys can do an arrangement. And I can, Madam Mayor, I can get on your schedule or yours, Barb, just to talk about what that issue is. They're aware of it. They've had some strong, they've been really heads down with DRMS on a couple other issues right now. It's not an excuse, but I'll get you guys together.
Pretty much know what those issues are.
Yeah.
But on another note, you brought up some other issues. a license, an ID card for liquid oxygen, so we can travel state to state, go to a Weldon Supply store. They can fill us up off their liquid oxygen. It's the same. And I told you the price difference the other day. It's pretty astronomical, where Jesse Bills could go fill up 95 gallons of liquid oxygen for $67. They charge the military 98 cents a liter, and they charge me way more. So $610 versus 67 is a lot when you're trying to make it. That's it. Thanks.
Scott.
Thank you very much for your effort.
All right, any other public that doesn't have an appointment on the agenda today that'd like to speak? All right, hearing none, we'll move into the 2024 Teller County Organizational Meeting. We've got half hour, 45 minutes where we recognize some people, set some dates, and do some official resolutions. First up, I'd like to recognize all of our Teller County elected officials. And I think this is an alphabetical order, not level of importance, obviously, because all of our elected officials are important. First off, we have our county assessor, Carol Kiddison. Thank you so much for being here. Next, we have our clerk and recorder, Stephanie Keys. Thank you so much. Our Teller County coroner, Steve Tomsky. I'm not sure Mr. Tomsky is here. All right, Sheriff Jason Mikesell. I think he is out of the country at the moment, but thank you so much. Our surveyor, Eric Simonson. I'm not sure he's here either. And then last but not least, our new Teller County Public Trustee, Crystal Brown. Thank you so much. Next up, we have our county department officials and appointments and leadership. First off, Mr. Herzog, thank you so much for a great year, and we're looking forward for another great year. We've had some great dynamic changes since you've joined us, and I want to appreciate and say my congratulations for a job well done over this last year. We have our Director of Community Development Office, Mr. Dan Swallow. He joined us this last year, stole in from another county and doing a great job. Had to create a new shop over there, but currently our CSU Extension Officer, we're still waiting on some CSU activity to make sure we get a new CSU Director. Director of Finance and Budget, Vicki Caldwell. Thank you so much. Director of Information Technology, Kyle Crawford. I'm not sure he's in the room. He's probably dealing with an issue this morning. Another new director that we got in this last year after Mr. Alexander retired after 30-some years with the county. Director of Public Health, Michelle Wolf. I don't see her in the room, but she's doing a great job over there. Obviously, took over for some longstanding officials there. Director of Public Works. I know Fred is out ill at the morning. The flu's going through that department, but he's done a great job in Public Works. Director of Human Services, Kim Motley. Thank you so much. Been here many, many years and leads a great group of people over there serving our citizens throughout Teller County. Director of Office Emergency Management, another new director, JT, taken over. We were able to acquire him from another district and sort of reset that department and is doing some great things throughout the community. Director of Human Resources, Ivy Morrison. Thank you so much. I know you're also a new director, but you started out with a big bang and changing lots of good things and modernizing our department and modernizing our tools for our county employees and benefits. Done a great job. Otherwise, we have our Teller County Director of Veteran Services, Cindy Meyer. I know she's normally up here one day a week and she works in Tamarack office. Great community citizen and does great things for our community. And next but not the least, is not on our list, but I want to thank Mr. Paul Hercom, our county attorney. He served us well for many, many years and his great advice and wisdom and protects us for all of our risks and handling our legal issues, and does this great service and advice from the county in a legal standpoint. All right, comments anybody at this point, or should we keep moving through? All right, recognize our city and school elected officials throughout the community. Obviously, today we have Mayor Annie Durham here from Cripple Creek. Along with that, we have citizens serving in their roles in their city council. Mayor Pro Tem Bruce Brown, Councilperson Cindy Schwab, Councilperson Jared Bowman, Councilperson Missy Trineri, and the City Administrator Frank Salvato. From the City of Victor, obviously, we have here today Mayor Barb Manning. We have Councilperson Buck Hicks that's also in the room. Thank you so much for being here today. We have Mayor Pro Tem Josh Mestas, Councilperson Connie Dobril, Councilperson Frankie Ashton, and City Administrator Glory Thurston, who is also in the room. Thank you so much for being here. From the City of Woodland Park, we have Mayor Hillary Barr. We have Mayor Pro Tem Kelly Case. We have Councilperson Frank Connors. We have Councilperson Rusty Neal, Councilperson Catherine Nakai, Councilperson Robert Zulaga, Councilperson David Ott, and City Manager, brand new in his role, Aaron Vesalati. Thank you so much for all the city folks who have volunteered and stepped up to help the citizens of our community. As I mentioned the other night in Victor, all these people step up to do the right thing for their community. Almost everybody in all these cities, I think that's conclusive. We're also members of Teller County, so you serve the same citizens we do. But it takes a lot to step up in your local community and serve the people and provide those services in your towns and cities throughout the job. And obviously, you don't get thanks a lot, but we're here today to say thank you so much for what you do for all the citizens of Teller County and specifically the areas that you serve. From a school standpoint, we have Cripple Creek Victor School RE1. We have Board President Mary Beals, Vice President Donna Brazil, their Treasurer Stanley Conley, Secretary Mark Green, and the Director at Large Stephanie Stokes. From the City of Woodland Park, RE2, we have Board President, new Director Mick Bates, Director A David Rosterholz, new Director Keegan Barkley. We have Secretary and District D Director Cassie Kimball, Director District E Susan Patterson. Thank you so much for what you do for all of our schools in both those districts. Again, it's a tough job, volunteer, but it's a key role because that's our kids that you're developing, setting policy for and leading those school districts. It's a big job and we appreciate what you guys do. From recognizing some of our Teller County volunteer boards, we have our Planning Commission that's very involved in our land use in Teller County. We have Wendy Dillenschneider, Jeff Smith, Michael Hawsey, Thomas Allen, and Brian Johnson. I think all those folks on the Planning Commission have been there many, many years. And I know Wendy's been there probably close to 30 years. So thank you so much for assisting us in our land use and our planning decisions in that category. Our Board of Review, which deals with contracting and building regulations throughout the county. We have Bert West, Jeff Smith, Carl Anderson, Gerald Bischoff, and Steve McCann. Again, several of those members have been there for upwards of 20 years and they volunteer on the county's behalf. So thank you so much for helping us in our building processes and reviews and contractors. We have our newly constituted, after a little bit of a lapse, of our Historic Preservation Advisory Board, Dave Martinique, Linda Johnson, Don Gatlin, Scott Bossler, and Scott Adams. Some of those guys have been involved in some of our historic preservations for many years throughout the county, and they're now joining us in our county process and designating and doing research and trying to preserve those items throughout our county, which are historic. I think then we move on to our organizational actions. We have a resolution for the county commissioners for 2024 meetings and the initial 2025 meetings, including the designation of posting location. Mr. Herzog, are you gonna do these resolutions?
Be my honor, sir.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it.
So before you is resolution number 1-11-24.
7. I'm just kidding.
Number one, start of a new number series.
And this is a resolution adopting a schedule of regular meetings for the Teller County Board of County Commissioners of Teller County, Colorado for 2024. And the first meetings of 2025 were pursuant to CRS 30-10-303. It is the obligation of the Teller County Board of County Commissioners to adopt and publish a schedule of its regular meetings. Now therefore, be it hereby resolved that the Teller County Board of County Commissioners shall meet in regular session on the following dates during the year 2024 and the first meetings in 2025. I'm happy to go through each of these dates if you'd like, sir.
Yes, please, thank you.
Be Thursday, January 11th, 2024. Tuesday, January 23rd, 2024. Thursday, February 8th, 2024. Tuesday, February 20th, 2024. Thursday, March 7th, 2024. Tuesday, March 19th, 2024. Tuesday, April 9th, 2024. Thursday, April 25th, 2024. Really wish I had a ruler. Thursday, May 9th, 2024. Thursday, May 23rd, 2024. Thursday, June 6th, 2024. Tuesday, June 18th, 2024. Thursday, June 11th, 2024. Thursday, July 25th, 2024. Thursday, August 8th, 2024. Tuesday, August 20th, 2024. Thursday, September 12th, 2024. Thursday, September 26th, 2024. Thursday, October 10th, 2024. Thursday, October 31st, 2024. Thursday, November 7th, 2024. Thursday, November 21st, 2024. Thursday, December 5th, 2024. Tuesday, December 17th, 2024. Tuesday, January 14th, 2025. Thursday, January 23rd, 2025. And secondly, all meetings shall convene at 9:15 a.m. unless otherwise stated or announced. Third, all meetings shall be held in the Commissioner Hearing Room in the Teller County Centennial Building in Cripple Creek unless otherwise stated or announced. Fourth, provisions 1, 2, and 3 notwithstanding, the Teller County Board of County Commissioners may hold one or more additional meetings per month at a time and or location other than those prescribed in provisions 1, 2, and 3. Further, the Teller County Board of County Commissioners may change the location and or time of the meetings prescribed in provisions 1, 2, and 3, so long as at least one meeting per calendar month is held in Cripple Creek. Such additional meetings and or such change in meeting time and or place shall, if possible, be announced at a regular meeting preceding such meeting. The Teller County Board of County Commissioners will typically hold work sessions twice a week, generally on Tuesdays and Thursdays. The purpose of the weekly work sessions is communication with the Teller County Board of County Commissioners and the county administrator regarding ongoing county business and projects. The work session on the Tuesday before each regular Teller County Board of County Commissioners meeting usually includes staff briefings to the Teller County Board of County Commissioners regarding each agenda item to be presented at the next regular meeting of the board. The work session on Thursday will be immediately follow each regular Teller County Board of County Commissioners meeting and via a phone conference on non-regular meetings of the Teller County Board of County Commissioners. The agenda, time, and location for each work session will be posted in the Centennial Building the Friday before the meeting. 6, pursuant to CRS 30-10-30, 30-10-3032, special or emergency meetings of the Board of County Commissioners may be called by the chairman, the vice chairman, the county administrator, or the county attorney, and announced by posting a notice of such special or emergency meetings
which notice shall be posted not less than 24 hours prior to the meeting. In the event of an emergency requiring a special or emergency meeting to be held within 24 hours, the posting requirement will be waived. But if possible, notice of the meeting will be posted as soon as possible in the manner provided in section 7 below. However, if the shall be the obligation of the chairman to notify the other commissioners of that meeting, and any action taken at that meeting will be included on posted agenda or amended agenda of the next regular meeting of the board for ratification. If not so ratified, it shall be deemed rescinded. 7, notice of all meetings of Teller County Board of County Commissioners will be posted in the following location: the Teller County website, tellercounty.gov. Adopted at the organizational meeting of the Teller County Board of County Commissioners this 11th day of January 2024 at the Centennial Building in Cripple Creek, Colorado.
Thank you, sir. Discussions or questions on this resolution?
No, sir.
Just only comment, is just that on our schedule that we put forward for this year, we probably have the greatest number of Tuesday meetings, that we've had certainly since I've been on the board. A lot of that is just to work around schedules. As you've heard from all of us, we serve on a lot of different boards, a lot of different responsibilities. We adjusted some of these to account for Commissioner Williams' service with our Parks and Wildlife and that board. So there's some meetings later in the year which conflict there. We occasionally have some CCI meetings which happen twice a year, which we had to adjust there. And then also, I believe our county attorney has a meeting of county attorneys that he attends where we need to adjust a meeting date there to go back to a Tuesday to ensure that we can all meet our duties and attend all these different boards. And so that's the reason for the more significant number of Tuesday meetings is the elevated activity level of all the commissioners, as well as the county attorney has required some adjustment. And also, again, you didn't hear earlier, all of these meetings will now be recorded and posted to our website. We'll figure out a way to archive the ones. I think our initial policy on the recordings is to get them up as soon as possible. And they'll be there until our minutes are approved by the commissioners, and then they'll be moved to some archive somewhere to be announced.
Thank you, sir. That was gonna be my comments. Is generally our meetings are the second and fourth Thursday of every week, with the exception of some statewide issues where we're on statewide boards or have commitments in the state. It's not for our local boards and committees. It's just more significant statewide boards. All right, with that, what is the wish of the board for this resolution?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve resolution number 111/2024. Number 1, resolution adopting a schedule of regular meetings for the Teller County Board of County Commissioners of Teller County, Colorado for 2024 and the first meeting of 2025 as presented.
Second the motion, Mr. Chair.
All right, before I call for the roll call, is there any public comment on this resolution, setting our meeting schedule? Any public comment? All right, hearing none. Ms. Keats?
Mr. Stone,
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Campbell.
Yes. Thank you. Next up, we have a resolution for the 2024 county paid holidays.
Thank you, sir. We do have a lot of employees making sure this passes. This is the Board of County Commissioners of Teller County, Colorado, resolution number 01-11-2023. 2024, excuse me.
Yeah, it says 23.
That's going to be me for a while, I think, probably next 2 weeks. Resolution designating paid holidays for county employees for the year 2024 and the beginning of 2025. Whereas it is the policy of Teller County to provide its employees the benefit of paid holidays during the year in addition to other benefits of employment. Now therefore be it hereby resolved that the following dates shall be designated as paid holidays for the year 2024 and the beginning of 2025, and non-essential offices are closed. New Year's Day, Monday, January 1st, 2024. Martin Luther King Day, Monday, January 15th, 2024. President's Day, Monday, February 19th, 2024. Memorial Day, Monday, May 27th, 2024. Juneteenth Day, Wednesday, June 19th, 2024. Independence Day, Thursday, July 4th, 2024. Labor Day, Monday, September 2nd, 2024. Veterans Day, Monday, November 11th, 2024. Thanksgiving, Thursday and Friday, November 28th and 29th, 2024. Christmas, Wednesday and Thursday, December 25th and 26th, 2024. And one floating holiday to be determined by employee with supervisor approval. This was used for birthdays, anniversaries, that kind of thing, should they choose. New Year's Day, Wednesday, January 1st, 2025. Adopted at the organizational meeting of the Teller County Board of County Commissioners this 11th day of January 2024 at the Centennial Building in Cripple Creek, Colorado.
Thank you, sir. Any discussion on this resolution?
No, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, just wanted to make a comment that the floating holiday that was mentioned, in a way kind of replaces the federal holiday of Columbus Day, but we had some departments and where through authority of department heads or electeds, they were giving a birthday day off, and ultimately we feel like that needed to be formalized. Personally, I just think instead of one floating holiday, we should just call it opening day elk season. But so that's just me, but anyway, that's the only comment, is that instead of the Columbus Day and that, is we're giving our employees an opportunity to designate a holiday with the approval of a supervisor, of course, that they can take and use as they please.
Like consistency.
Thank you, sir. I will open this resolution up for public comment. Any public comment on this resolution? All right, hearing none, what would be the choice of the board on this resolution?
Sure, Mr. Chairman, I would just add to Commissioner Stone's comment that usually I'm sick on the opening day of elk season, but there's a couple ways to get to that problem. Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve resolution number 01-11-2024-2, that being a resolution designating paid holidays for county employees for the year 2024, the beginning of year 2025, as written and presented.
I will second that motion.
Great. Any further discussion needed?
No, sir.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Stone,
Yes.
Mr. Williams, Mr. Campbell.
Yes. All right, this next one is just a motion, but annually we designate a person to prepare and submit our proposed budget under Colorado Revised Statutes 29-1-104. And I think as usual, Ms. Violet Watt would be our designee. So if we could have a motion.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I would move to designate Violet Watt as our employee to prepare and submit the proposed budget under CRS 291-1-104.
Second motion, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I will open this up, even though it's not a resolution. Any public comment on this resolution? This motion? Hearing none, roll call please, Ms. B.
Mr. Stone,
Yes.
Mr. Williams, Mr. Campbell.
Yes. All right, next up, we have a designation of the Teller County official newspaper. This is by motion, but I don't know if you'd like to present, or you want me to just,
However you'd like to do it, sir. Happy to read off.
go ahead.
So we did get through Fikes Peak Carrier. They officially bid to publish the Teller County public notices for the year 2024. The Gazette Fikes Peak Carrier is going to be the legal newspaper and fits the definition by the state statute requirements set forth in Colorado Legal Publication Statute 24-70-101 through 24-70-109. By being a newspaper published at regular intervals once each week, and being a newspaper admitted as second-class matter in the United States Mail, and being a newspaper having continuously and uninterruptedly published during the period at least 52 consecutive weeks prior to the first issue. This will go from January 1st, 2024. Their circulation is 14,628. The Teller County government offices is $5 per column inch. Teller County trustee fixed ads up to 32 inches is $295 total for 1 to 5 consecutive weeks. Teller County Treasurer is $5 per column inch. Teller County Delinquent Tax Annual Section, $8 per parcel, 3 consecutive weeks. So very happy to have this. We also still utilize.
All right, thank you, Mr. Herzog. Any discussion on this?
No, I just want to also recognize Mount Jackpot is here with Trevor. The selection of this paper doesn't say anything about Mount Jackpot. Obviously, it's statutory. We have to do it. It also carries with a great responsibility to burden to have those things. But as Ross said, we have a great website now, and I just want to make sure we recognize your paper as well as appreciate what you guys cover every day as well. Pat Hill is online today, so no other comments, Mr. Chair.
All right,
And Mr. Chairman, my only comment would be that just there's always kind of a continued effort through CCI and working with the legislature to, as much as possible, allow in this internet world for certain things that are required to be published in the newspaper record, delinquent tax records, for example. But there are certain things that as we continue to look at, from both a transparency and a fiduciary responsibility of taxpayer funds of allowing certain things to be posted virtually and posted online versus being published in the newspaper of record. And we'll always continue to look for opportunities to save the taxpayers some money because we realize that on certain things, I think the newspaper of record is very important, but on other things which are, may not be as important, we'd like to be able to get those published without having to expend taxpayer funds to do so. So we'll always look for those opportunities.
and each year we do see some legislation that could tweak some of the requirements of those published items, so we continue to work on that throughout the year. All right, I'll open this item up for public comment. Any public comment on this issue? All right, hearing none, do we have a motion?
Yes, sir. So, Mr. Chair, I move that we designate the Pikes Peak Courier, our official newspaper, as presented and as discussed.
I will second that motion.
All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Stone,
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Campbell.
Yes. All right, at this time, we will recess as the Teller County Board of County Commissioners and convene as the Teller County Board of Health to discuss the Board of Health meetings for 2024 and initial meetings of 2025, including designated posting locations. Mr. Herzog.
Thank you, sir. So before you is the Board of County Commissioners of Teller County, Colorado, acting as the Board of Health Resolution Number 01-11-2024-3.
Yes.
A resolution adopting a schedule of regular meetings for the Teller County Board of County Commissioners, acting as the Board of Health of Teller County, Colorado for the year 2024 and the first meeting of 2025. Whereas pursuant to CRS 25-1-5084B, the Teller County Board of County Commissioners, acting as the Board of Health, desires to officially set the regular meeting dates of the Board of Health, and now therefore be it hereby resolved that number one, the Teller County Board of County Commissioners shall meet as the Board of Health on the following dates during the year 2024 and the first meeting in 2025. January 16th, 2024, April 16th, 2024, July 16th, 2024, October 8th, 2024, January 7th, 2025. Secondly, all meetings shall convene at 9:30 unless otherwise stated or announced. Third, all meetings shall be held in Suite 230 conference room located at 800 Research Drive, Woodland Park, Colorado, unless otherwise stated or announced. Fourth, provisions 2 and 3 notwithstanding, the Board of Health may hold one or more additional meetings at the time and or location other than those prescribed in provisions 2 and 3. Further, the Board of Health may change the location and or time of the meetings prescribed in provisions 1, 2, and 3. Such additional meetings and or such change in meetings, time and or place shall, if possible, be announced at a regular meeting preceding such meeting. Fifth, notice of all meetings of the Teller County Board of Health will be posted in the following location on the Teller County website, tellercounty.gov. Sixth, pursuant to CRS 30-10-3032, special or emergency meetings of the Teller County Board of County Commissioners, acting as the Board of Health, may be called by the chairman, the county administrator, the county attorney, or the vice chairman, and announced by posting a notice of such special or emergency meetings, which notice shall be posted not less than 24 hours prior to the meeting in the event of an emergency requiring a special or emergency meeting to be held within 24 hours. The posting requirement will be waived, but if possible, notice of the meeting will be posted as soon as possible in a manner provided in section 5 above. However, it shall be the obligation of the chairman to notify the other commissioners of that meeting, and any action taken at that meeting will be included on the posted agenda or amended agenda for the next regular meeting of the board for ratification. If not so ratified, it shall be deemed rescinded. Adopted at the organizational meeting of the Teller County Board of County Commissioners this 11th day of January 2024 at the Centennial Building in Cripple Creek, Colorado.
Thank you, Mr. Herzog. Any discussion needed or comments?
No, sir.
No, sir.
All right, I'll open this resolution up for public comment as the Board of Health. Hearing no public comment, what would be the choice of the board on this resolution?
And Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve resolution number 1-11-2024, number 3, a resolution adopting a schedule of regular meetings for the Teller County Board of County Commissioners, acting as the Board of Health for Teller County, Colorado for the year 2024 and the first meeting of 2025 as presented.
Second the motion, Mr. Chair.
All right, motion and a second, no further discussion, we'll take roll call, Ms. Keys.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Williams? Mr. Campbell?
Yes. All right, at this time, we will adjourn as the Teller County Board of Health and officially convene as the Teller County Board of Social Services. We have an agenda item for the Board of Human Service 2024 meetings and the initial 2025 meeting, including designation and posting locations.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
They did change the name of it. We're no longer Board of Social Services, we're now Board of Human Services.
Okay.
Some more human, sir.
No more boss. Now it's BOS, I guess, BOHS.
Thank you for that note. Mr. Herzog.
Thank you, sir. So this is the Board of County Commissioners of Teller County, Colorado, acting as the Board of Human Services. Resolution number 01-11-2024, number 4. A resolution adopting a schedule of regular meetings for the Teller County Board of County Commissioners, acting as the Board of Human Services of Teller County, Colorado for the year 2024 and the first meeting of 2025. Whereas pursuant to CRS 26-1-116, the Teller County Board of County Commissioners serves as the Board of Human Services, whereas the Teller County Board of County Commissioners, acting as the Board of Human Services, desires to officially set the regular meeting dates of the Board of Human Services, and now therefore be it hereby resolved that 1, the Teller County Board of County Commissioners shall meet as the Board of Human Services on the following dates during 2024 and the first meeting in 2025. January 30th, 2024, April 23rd, 2024, July 23rd, 2024, October 15th, 2024, January 21st, 2025. Secondly, all meetings shall convene at 9:30 a.m. unless otherwise stated or announced. Third, all meetings shall be held in Suite 230, conference room located at 800 Research Drive, Woodland Park, Colorado, unless otherwise stated or announced. Fourth, provisions 1, 2, and 3 notwithstanding, the board may hold one or more additional meetings per month at a time and or location other than those prescribed in provisions 1, 2, and 3. Further, the board may change the location and or time of the meetings prescribed in provisions 1, 2, and 3. Such additional meetings and or such change in meetings, time, and or place shall, if possible, be announced at a regular meeting preceding such meeting. Fifth, notice of all meetings of the Teller County Board of Human Services will be posted in the following location on the Teller County website, tellercounty.gov. Sixth, pursuant to CRS 30-10-3032, special or emergency meetings of the Teller County Board of County Commissioners, acting as the Board of Human Services, may be called by the chairman, the vice chairman, the county administrator, or the county attorney, and announced by posting a notice of such special or emergency meetings, which notice shall be posted not less than 24 hours prior to the meeting. In the event of an emergency requiring a special or emergency meeting to be held within 24 hours, the posting requirement will be waived. But if possible, notice of the meeting will be posted as soon as possible in a manner provided in section 5 above. However, it shall be the obligation of the chairman to notify the other commissioners of that meeting, and any action taken at that meeting will be included on the posted agenda or amended agenda of the next regular meeting of the board for ratification. And if not so ratified, it shall be deemed rescinded, adopted at the organizational meeting of the Teller County Board of County Commissioners this 11th day of January 2024 at the Centennial Building in Cripple Creek, Colorado.
Thank you, Mr. Herzog. I will open this Board of Human Services resolution up for public comment. Hearing no public comment or seeing none, what would be the choice of the board on this resolution?
Dear Mr. Chair, I move that we approve resolution number 01-11-2024-4. That being a resolution adopting a schedule of regular meetings for the Teller County Board of County Commissioners, acting as the Board of Human Services of Teller County, Colorado for the year 2024, the first meeting of 2025, as presented.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, Mr. Keys.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes. All right, that completes our agenda item for the Board of Human Services. So we'll adjourn that meeting and reconvene as the Teller County Board of County Commissioners. We're back. I think
But not for long.
yes. I think that's the end of the actual agenda of the organization side for the commissioners. But we get to sit as yet one additional board today. We will recess as the Board of Teller County Commissioners and convene as the Teller County Wastewater Utility Board. We have an agenda item. Consider a resolution amending the rate structure for all user fees of the Teller County Wastewater Utility. You hand the question for Mr. Herzog?
Yes, please, sir.
All right.
Mr. Herzog, County Administrator, as well as General Manager for the Wastewater Utility Board.
Yes.
That's an unpaid position, isn't
It is unpaid.
it?
Can we discuss that? Before the Board of County Commissioners acting as the Teller County Wastewater Utility Board of Teller County, Colorado is resolution number 01-11-2024-5.
Yes.
A little history. So one of the grants we were looking for requires us to go for cash flow analysis and rate studies. So we did do an official rate study before you with some of the fees, which we'll go into after I read the resolution. Very minor changes, change with our utility for cost over a lot of years, but this is just going to keep up. So this resolution is a resolution amending the rate structure for all user fees for Teller County wastewater utility, whereas the Teller County wastewater utility is located in Divide and is managed by the Teller County as a proprietary enterprise fund, and whereas the rates for services charged by the utility have not changed since 2018, and whereas the cost of system maintenance and expansion consistently increases through the years, making the system development fee inadequate to cover appropriate expenses, and whereas the utility has reached the state mandated threshold for expansion, and whereas the utility has initiated design and is currently in the process of expansion to comply with state regulations and to qualify for a state revolving fund loan, which requires the utility to increase rates to secure the loan. And whereas the proposed new rate structure minimizes the impact to existing system users and increases cost for future development, including system development to meet cash flow targets. And whereas the rates contained herein will increase automatically on January 1st of each year by 3.4%. And whereas the Board of County Commissioners acting as the Teller County Wastewater Utility Board hereby finds, determines, and declares that adoption of this resolution is necessary for the preservation and protection of the public health, safety, and welfare of its inhabitants of Teller County. Now therefore be it resolved effective March 1st of 2024, the Teller County Wastewater Utility Regulations Appendix A Schedule of Costs and Charges is amended as follows. And you'll see a permit charge, single family home and mobile home commercial, So single family home and mobile home, $50, commercial, $100. Multifamily, $50 for each 15 FUE or increment thereof. Commercial, $50 for each 15 FUE or increment thereof. B, system development charges. Doesn't list it, but this one has gone up significantly as to allow the cash flow. Hasn't been changed in a while, but it's still within line of what is out there in the market. So B, system development charges, 15,000 for each 15 FUE or increment thereof. C, water service sizing surcharge, less than 3/4 of an inch service included in the system development charges. Once you go to a 3/4 inch service, it goes to a $5,000. 1 inch service, $10,000, 2 inch service, $20,000, 3 inch and above, $40,000. Monthly user fee, the monthly residential minimum user fee is $50 for up to 4,000 gallons, plus $18.40 for each additional 1,000 gallons or increment thereof. Monthly commercial minimum fee is $50 for up to 4,000 gallons, plus $18.40 per additional 1,000 gallons or increment thereof up to 25,000 gallons, plus $15.06 per each additional 1,000 gallons or increment thereof above 25,001 gallons. E, a disconnection charge, uniform disconnection charge is $50. And this is adopted at our regular meeting of the Board of County Commissioners acting as the Teller County Wastewater Utility Board of Teller County, Colorado, this 11th day of January 2024.
Thank you, sir. Being that this is a public utility per se, there's lots of history involved in this utility and why we're even in this business. Because I don't think it was our choice, 25, 28 years ago to even be involved in this, but because of the situation that occurred, we had to adopt this enterprise zone and develop our wastewater utility board. And sometimes it can be our albatross. It's a tough one to deal with, as we've all seen in the last few months and couple of years trying to get through the permit process with CPHE and the ongoing construction and design situations that we've been dealing with, as we've talked about many times in this room. Further discussion.
Yeah, if we could, Mr. Chair, especially with both of our city mayors here who also are interested in growth. And I would just like to reiterate just a few things on this document that certainly will give you our lessons learned as you look at some potential growth and conservation in the future. But essentially, the only thing that controls growth up here besides our will is the availability of water, and the ability to process wastewater. What Bob just said very eloquently, the chair just said is it's astronomical cost increase at the state level, the EPA federal rules that are embraced by Colorado. If you haven't had your staff look at some of that, it's almost cost prohibitive. And so we're working through that. There's also a bureaucracy that's undermanned up there by about 50%. And so, the presser, I would tell you that we were told in person while we went up there at that time, a few months ago, they were 10,000 permits behind. And so we offered it. We had the governor's office with us and all that. So we're working friendly, moving that through. With regards to the costs on here, again, the message for the press today and people is that if you're an existing customer, it's a pretty minor increase. It's like everything else, a few extra dollars. When you look at a system development charge of $15,000, I would remind residents of Teller County that a new septic system they cost $60,000. So if you happen to live in this district and you want to build a new home, or as we see growth, which we mentioned in our preamble, $15,000 is still a bargain compared to what you'd be paying in parts of the state or the county that I live in, for example. I know Mr. Herzog went through a recent purchase of a new septic system. So try to keep those fees as low as we can. But again, happy to share our lessons learned with you as you guys start looking at your wastewater. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And Mr. Chair, my other comment is that as part of this new rate structure also was in work with CDPHE, as we have now kind of been given the head nod from CDPHE to, in a limited fashion, lift the moratorium that we've had in place for years for new taps in the Divide area. And we're going to have a limited number of taps based upon the size of the of that specific tap that will be made available in this interim time between now and when we're able to bring the new wastewater treatment facility online. which will be the next 2 to 3 years. So you might see some movement out there, won't be overnight, but we now do have the ability to do that, thank goodness. It was one little concession we got from CDPHE. So for property owners out there that maybe have been waiting for opportunities to build or develop, they're gonna be able to do that, at least in a limited fashion. And that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. At this time, I'll open this issue up for the wastewater utility board for public comment on this resolution. Any comment, public? All right, hearing none, what would be the choice of the commission on this resolution?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve resolution number 1-11-2024, number 5, a resolution amending the rate structure for all user fees for Teller County wastewater utility as presented.
Second the motion, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Assuming no further discussion, roll call, please.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes. All right. Now back to the regular agenda for our commissioner hearing items that we would normally go through. We will recess as the Teller County Wastewater Utility Board and convene as the Teller County Board of County Commissioner to complete the next few items.
Excellent. We're back again.
Yes.
Better.
All right, before us, we have a reappointment to consider from Mr. Michael Hazy to the Teller County Planning Commission. In your packet, we have a letter expressing his interest to continue to serve. I know Mr. Hazy has been involved for, 15 years or so, and has served as chairman of the Planning Commission many times and is a good member. So that's what's in front of us to consider.
Yeah, and at the meeting for the planning commission, he's reappointed. He'll be able to continue in that role, and he runs a very good meeting.
So we have some sort of inclusion that we need to reappoint him because he's already chair. So
It's on your pleasure.
Yeah, we could always have another vote if he's not doing.
Comments from Mr. Hazy, I would be happy to read for you.
Okay, go ahead, sir. Yes.
So we did, back on, early December, he did reach out and said, I have very much enjoyed supporting Teller County and by proxy, the Teller County Board of County Commissioners by serving on the Teller County Planning Commission for the past 2 appointment periods. I'd like to continue my service as a planning commissioner and ask that you renew my appointment for any additional term. Thank you for the opportunity to serve our community. And I've never heard it.
Publicly, I'd like to thank Mr. Hazy. I was familiar back in the days because we'd served together in Boy Scout world, but that's many years ago and I don't get to see him as often as I used to. Thank him tremendously for his commitment to volunteer to be a part of this planning commission board. Gentlemen?
Yeah, I would just say that, with my 6 years down in planning, and I echo what Paul said and what you said, it's my pleasure to work with him. He understands our land use regulations are a compromise between necessary regulations for safety and life health safety and yet not being onerous. So he understands that. He also understands what we call the Teller County Commissioner philosophy on land use. I've always found him to be well balanced, apolitical, makes tough decisions based on the regulations and the standards. So it's a pleasure to see that because you don't always see that. We all have biases that we bring to decisions. I've never seen Michael do that. So I'm in full support, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'd just like to echo both your comments and appreciation of Mr. Hazy's willingness and desire to continue to serve. It's well known among, all local governments of how challenging it can be to find people to serve on volunteer boards. Sometimes they're statutorily required, as is the Planning Commission, and just appreciate his continued willingness to serve and, of course, for his service in the past.
Thank you, sir. Because this is a regular business or commissioner item, I'd like to open it up for public comment on this appointment. Hearing and seeing no public comment, what would be the choice of the board on this appointment?
I'll make that motion, sir. Just one question for the attorney. Is this for a 4-year period or 2?
We have staggered 3-year terms, I
Okay, so we
believe.
staggered.
Yeah, so he still is in his current term. This will
Be another 3 years.
make sure we don't have a gap for him.
Got it. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the reappointment of Michael N. Hazy for the next 3 years. So that being that appointment period as presented, and thank you for the service.
I would second that motion.
Roll call, Ms. Stevens.
Mr. Stone,
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Bob, you're doing what I do. You repeat everybody's last name.
Yeah, I know, I look and then I freeze, you know.
There's a hypnotic device over here. This
All right, our next agenda item, number 6. Treasurer's Office, consider a resolution voiding certain county-held tax lien certificates.
Good morning, Commissioners, Mr. Hercom and Mr. Herzog, and last but not least, Ms. Keys. This was prepared before I was brought on, so I am going to let my Chief Deputy go ahead and read this resolution.
Thank you.
What is the resolution number?
Six.
10.
Okay.
Whatever you want.
Okay.
Pick a number, Sharon.
Like 6.
If you just introduce
We're gonna go with
yourself.
6.
I already have my list of the 10.
I'm Sharon Morrow, the Chief Deputy Treasurer.
Thank you.
The Board of County Commissioners of Teller County, Colorado, Resolution 1/11/24/6. Whereas CRS 39/11/142/6 and other statutes provide that the duty of the Teller County Treasurer to present at least annually a list of all tax lien certificates held by the county for 30 years or longer during a regular meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. Whereas CRS 39/11/142/6 further provides that the Board of County Commissioners may declare the county-held tax lien certificates void and of no effect if held by the county for 30 years or more without obtaining a tax deed. Whereas CRS 39/11/142/6 directs that the county treasurer shall, upon receipt of the Board of County Commissioners, order voiding these tax lien certificates, record this order, and cancel such tax lien certificates. Whereas the Teller County Treasurer determined the county-held tax lien certificates listed on attachment A to be at least 30 years old without issuance of a tax deed nor otherwise disposed of. Whereas the Board of County Commissioner hereby finds, determines, and declares an adoption of the resolution is necessary for the preservation and protection of public health, safety, and welfare of the inhabitants of Teller County. Now therefore be it hereby resolved that the tax lien certificates listed on attachment A are void and of no effect. Adopted at a regular meeting of the Teller County Board of County Commissioners this 11th day of January 2024 at the Centennial Building in Cripple Creek County.
Thank you, Sharon. Discussion or questions?
Just comment if I may, not really a question, but essentially, when you look at the list of these are properties or even portions of properties, as you know, as you look at this list here, there's 1/64th interest in a property and undivided 48th of 64th interest of a property. These are things that have been put up in the tax sale, but the amount of the liens against the property probably exceeds the value of the property itself, which is why there's no interest in anybody in acquiring these tax liens. By voiding these, it kind of resets it and gives an opportunity that perhaps someone may want to get a 1/64th interest if they acquire a tax lien and then continue to acquire tax lien should they continue to go unpaid, which is likely since they haven't been paid in 30 years. And then perhaps these get back on a roll where they're no longer delinquent. That's kind of the goal, I think. But again, these are all, there's several mineral interests and, percentage of interests and, I think there's one mining claim on here, but there's really not much value to them and it gets them off the books. Is that accurate? I guess that was a question.
Yeah, I would just say too, Mr. Chair, I always remind folks, my ranch is made up of mining claims, and so we are a split estate state. And so for severed mineral interest, for those that own the surface, there's a process that the county has to reestablish that connection. So I always encourage people to do that. And it's really just a holdover from the old mining days. But if you own a mining claim that's identified as SR, that means you don't own the subsurface, and it's a smart thing to do to try to make that happen. And there's a process for it. So thank you for bringing these forward. It's good.
And as Commissioner Stone mentioned, these have been stale and non-active and show no interest in probably multiple sales over the year, but at one point they don't go to sale, but they're always offered to the combined property above ground if they have identical addresses and legal descriptions. They're always offered to them, and in these cases, nobody wants these parcels or pieces or interests in these parcels. It's a tough issue. Sometimes there's some logic gap in some of this, why they're not picked up, but it's real and it exists, and this gives us the opportunity to make them viable and hopefully revitalize the interest in the property. So I'll open this resolution up for public comment. Any comment? All right, hearing none, what would be the choice of the board on this resolution?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I move to approve resolution number 1-11, 2024, number 6, a resolution voiding certain county held tax lien certificates as presented.
Second motion, Mr. Chair.
Roll call, Ms. Keys.
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Campbell.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
ladies.
Sharon. Thank you, Crystal.
All right, up to number 7. BoCC consider ratification of the Teller County temporary mill levy reduction, the temporary property tax credit pursuant to Senate Bill 23-108.
That's what everybody's been waiting for.
Yes.
Vicky Caldwell, Finance Director. Before I make my request, I want to give some information regarding this topic. The intent of both the recent state legislation and Teller County's temporary mill levy reduction is to mitigate the effect of the historic increases in home values on taxpayers in 2024. I'm only going to discuss the effect of this temporary credit and the state legislation as it affects Teller County revenues. Actual taxes billed to homeowners will also include taxes for other taxing entities. The board does not control their mill levies. Based on the reduction approved by the board on January 9th, 2024, the 2024 total net reduction of Teller County property taxes to homeowners, including state legislation, is approximately $2.7 million. This equals a net decrease to Teller County revenues on an average home valued at $500,000 of approximately 25%. Therefore, I am requesting that the board ratify Teller County's temporary mill levy reduction of 1.840 mills and the resulting temporary property tax credit of $1,552,028 pursuant to Senate Bill 23-108 that was approved at the special meeting on January 9th, 2024.
Thank you, Vicky. Do we have some discussion? Would you like to start?
Yeah, I'll jump in first. This is our opportunity to exercise the authority, the clarified authority granted by the state legislature this last legislative session, which was SB 23-108. 2 years ago, we knew in conversations with our assessor about the historic spike in property tax values, and we knew at that time that we were going to get more revenue than what we needed to run the county. But our options for what to do with that were limited only to a permanent reduction to deal with a temporary spike in values. Those two things didn't match up. So we got together with Mark Baisley, our senator, to introduce a bill which quietly got every vote in the House and the Senate and every committee as an aye. It may have been the only piece of legislation other than perhaps naming they don't name post offices, but they do some other work that everybody, the few things that people can agree on. Some people in the legislature, as Commissioner Williams mentioned earlier, don't have any experience in local government, and I'm fully confident they had no idea what they were voting yes on, other than we were able to get this authority. So I'm tickled. Number one, can I say that? I'm tickled.
Yep.
For us to be able to do this, when we looked at, and I'm going to back up a little bit, we approached all our special districts and also, other municipalities and talked a lot about this year budgeting to need. Because we're all going to receive substantially more revenues than we had received in the past. It looks like that there are some special districts out there, some of the municipalities are doing exactly that. They're budgeting to need. We wanted to be leaders in this area as a county. The increase in property tax in Teller County, or the property tax revenues that we're going to accept and not refund, is right around, I believe, Vicky, correct me if I'm wrong, about 6%, 6.6%.
We are doing an increase of 6.06% over the previous year.
Yeah, 6
instead of
So
Yes.
less than the level of inflation from the last 2 years, certainly. 6.06 is the number we came up with. So that's what we needed to continue to provide services, to continue to do the things that the county has done, that the people have asked us to do. And the rest of that we're returning back. And at the time when we were looking at it, I believe that our target was to affect a net $2.2 million in tax credits back to property owners, combined with 108 plus the limited action that was taken in the special session by the legislature. I'm really happy that that number went from 2.2 million to 2.7 million. So we've actually increased an additional 500,000 going back to our taxpayers. And I'm very, very happy to be able to do that. And we'll be able to annually look at this. We've seen some kind of adjustments in the market. I think we're going to continue to see continued adjustments to the market while interest rates remain high. It has to. So this gives us the ability to be flexible and responsive to the many residents in Teller County. And regardless of whether you're in a situation where you're a professional that's increasing in their career and have increasing wages, nobody likes to see taxes go up. But most importantly, here in Teller County, we have a significant number of people who live here who are elderly, who live on fixed income, who are retirees. And we also have a number of people, and I'd love to see that number continue to increase, whether it's because they work for the local school districts or work for the county or businesses, is to be able to actually set down roots here in Teller County and enter into that home ownership. And I'm sure for a lot of people who bought in the last couple of years, that they, a lot of times that I know when we bought our first home, is you're just doing as much as you possibly can, to get in. And then you realize after a year that there's a potential for your property taxes to increase significantly. And that's really hard for people who are just starting out, people who have kids and growing families. And so we want to help them too. And this does that. I'm happy to be able to do it. As you look at your property tax bill, you'll see there's a lot of special districts and other things in there. We're beginning to receive reports that some of the special districts have done exactly as the county is doing and are budgeting based on need and are reducing. And the municipalities, have heard from City of Woodland Park and others that they're doing the same, and collectively it will have a significant impact. So like I said, I'm tickled to do it, and I wish the gallery was full of people here supporting us in doing it, but I know that we've talked a lot about it, and I think the reason the gallery isn't full is because I think the residents know that we've had this in our sights and that we weren't going to let it happen on the county level, and so that's my long speech on. We're giving 2.8 million back total, including what the legislature did. Happy to do so.
And I'll just add, Mr. Chair, Eric's a humble man. That's why he's not taking credit for it, but I'll give you credit because 2 years ago, Carol Kittleson came before us in this room, briefed us, and our jaws hit the floor. We were shocked, and our comments universally, Bob, Eric, and I, were people will lose their homes if this happens. I don't have to tell Andy or Barb that where we're sitting right now in the southern part of the county, which is my district, District 1, some people got 100% increases. And like Eric said very eloquently, if you're fixed income, that's exactly what that means. That's all you have. So we have veterans, we have the elderly population that basically had to make a decision potentially if we hadn't done this between food, medicine, or losing their home. And I think nothing's more holy for the three of us than the life, health, safety of the residents. Everything else matters, but there's nothing that matters more than life, health, safety, and that includes a forest fire. Well, this was a forest fire coming, and so very quietly again, work Eric started to look at the statutes you got with our attorney and actually crafted some legislation. All three of us then went up there, as Eric said, he mentioned the supermajority. Imagine three Republicans who look like we do from a small county, one of the smallest counties of Colorado, standing on the steps of the Capitol and actually in every legislative office, and it was 100%. Eric, because he was recovering from what I told you about his health before, missed this comment, but Bob and I were pleased to hear it. Once and this isn't political, this is just facts. Once HH failed, and then Governor Polis did come and talk to us at CCI in the winter conference. He basically then released a letter and a statement following from his office that said, I believe that Senate Bill 108 is one of the most significant, or is the most significant piece of legislation passed this year with regards to tax relief. And so I just wanted to publicly recognize Eric for that, for his wisdom. And that's the kind of thing we talked about with punching above your weight, getting involved early, whether it's at the community level, council level, at the mayor's or our level, never give up. And the people of this county deserve this. And so I think the only thing I would add is Ross, I think, will be working with the press, both Pat Hill and you, Trevor, to make sure that there's an example and they can see exactly what they're getting back, because those bills can be confusing. And then I know, again, hats off to you and Mike Khan. I really appreciate it. Did a lot of work for that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And I'm going to interrupt just for a second, just to say, first off, thank you, but I don't know who originally said it, but it's a wise statement, is you get a lot done when you don't care who gets the credit. And that's why I don't stand up and take credit for it. It took a lot of people. It took a lot of work. It took Senator Baisley. It took CCI, a lot of people to get this through. So it's not just one person. We all remember, Schoolhouse Rock and, I'm just a bill on Capitol Hill, and it starts with an idea. And that's what this was. Started with an idea. We had a need in Teller County. We saw something ahead of time, but then it took a lot of work and it took a lot of help. And that, in the business world, ideas don't make money. Work makes money. And it was work of a lot of people. So appreciative to Senator Baisley for carrying it and helping whip up support for it. And of course, my fellow commissioners for going and, like he said, it's this silly little bill with three commissioners from Teller County going in and saying, we need this, and they believed us. So appreciate the praise, but it's again, it was an idea that we all worked on. So thank you.
All right, without being redundant, I do want to point out, I got a worksheet that I filled out in like January or February of this year that showed the estimate, because it was an estimate at that time, that the property taxes were going anywhere from 25 to 45% up in this county, depending on where you live and your property classification. But it was going to bring our property tax collection just for the county mill levy to up over $13 million. And I said, we don't need to increase that from our 10.2 or 10.4 million that much. And I have all my chicken scratches from this old worksheet. So with this combination between the two Senate bills that affected the reevaluation and subtractions from the Senate Bill 22-238 and the special session bill that was passed, the combination now brings our tax collection for county property taxes down to 10.8, which means, as previously mentioned, we're only taking 6% of that increase when our revenue would have gone up more than 28% as a county. We don't need that. And sort of sounds like a political comment, but we made this promise to the people and we kept our promise. We're doing exactly what that is. And at the time, I had an estimated 2.2 million going back to the county. I'm sorry, 2.2 million in reductions. And it's now 2.7 million between what the state legislature did and what we're doing with this action in bringing our mill levy down as a temporary credit. So when the tax bills are produced, it'll show that original 16.67 or 16.6 and change.
Yeah.
With a credit of 1.8 mil as a temporary credit. This is a 1-year credit. The one clarification that was made in this bill during all the discussions and negotiations between committees, it was just clarified that this decision is an annual decision. So each year we'll stand up here and justify if we are going to do another credit or not a credit and what the cost of county government is. But we are doing exactly what we said. So it was a promise made and a promise kept. I'm very proud of my fellow commissioners because we testified in multiple committees, multiple times to make sure this worked along with our legislative assistance of Mr. Baisley and his staff and CCI staff. So thank you so much. This is a big win for Teller County citizens because it's a significant drop in what property taxes we could have collected if we had chose not to pay attention to our constituents and just doing the right thing, because I categorize this as this is the right thing to do for our citizens, because we don't need that much of an increase. And that was part of the discussion we had when we had our roundabout work session with all the special districts and cities and districts around the community, is do the right thing for your citizens. Nobody plans for a 28 or 40% increase, so just don't take it because you can. Do the right things for your citizens and budget for what is necessary to provide those services. I'm thankful so far that I think my research at this point shows we got at least 5 special districts in 2 cities. They're also doing the temporary credit. So thank you so much for each of those entities for doing the right thing. And we had some success in Teller County in pushing back on these property tax bills. So.
And one more comment, if I may, Mr. Chair, just to
Yes.
make sure, the credit due where it's due is also just within the last, couple weeks, you came back to, the board, and, you like to make jokes about your chicken scratches, but they're pretty good scratches. You came back and after further analysis realized, hey, we can actually give an additional 500,000 back after the action of the legislature. And even though, we could have followed through with the 2.2 million and said promises kept, is that we knew what we needed to run the county. And when you reworked all the numbers, there was an additional $500,000 there, and it's the people's money. So it's going back to the people. So thank you for bringing that to us, Bob.
No problem. So like I say, it's the right thing to do. All right, this is a ratification because we had to have a special meeting the other day to adopt this. Because the dates were due by yesterday and we didn't feel it was necessary to reschedule our big organizational and BoCC meeting. So we're going to ratify this today. But before we do that, is there any comment from the public on this subject? Up for public comment. All right, what's the board choice on this ratification?
Chair, I move that we ratify the Teller County temporary mill levy reduction / temporary property tax credit pursuant to Senate Bill 23-108 as presented and as written on the document.
I'll happily second.
Ooh.
All right, any other discussion amongst us? Roll call, Ms. Keys.
Mr. Stone,
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Campbell.
Yes, thank you so much. Appreciate your efforts on that. Appreciate you two in the assessor's office, Carol, because I know both these bills created some recalculation processes.
Thanks for doing the work. Yeah, thanks for doing the work 2 or 3 times.
Because I know Senate Bill 22 was out there from previous years, but the special session bill was late in December. And they didn't make these decisions till late in December, and final assessment was already due, and you had to open up all the books and then look at each and every property in Teller County and make adjustments to everybody assessed values based on what they did at the state legislature. That doesn't include the mill levy reduction that we did at the county level. So thank you for all your efforts and your team, because I know that was a boatload of work. I think tax bills will go out on time, but the deadline and the calendar for doing these types of actions that we're doing today did get pushed by the legislature, and their infinite wisdom was get the tax bill out as soon as possible. And that was what it said in the legislation. But I think our tax bills, based on the tax roll that goes from the assessor's office to the treasurer's office, should make that happen here in the next couple of weeks. Thank you so much. This is a really big decision on behalf of Teller County and their residents.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your work.
Thank you. I know that was a lot of editorializing, but it was the right thing to be. All right, number 8, 1045. We're a little bit behind, obviously, but consider ratification of resolution 12-1223, number 37, a resolution to amend various department fund budgets for 2023. This is the ratification. That's a ratification. So we do have 4 budget ratifications that we're pursuing. Do you have a need to do them individually? Can we do them together? It does affect different funds.
I think we can go with on those. And I did see that clerk, I believe, prepared minutes from that meeting, so we actually have the meeting minutes for that special meeting.
Okay, so
And they were signed and approved.
Yeah, so it's already been read, so we could approve by title only.
Correct.
okay, thank you. So I think your answer is to read the headline and the number.
Okay. Okay, I am Violet and I'm from the Office of Finance and Budget. And let's see, just asking the BoCC to consider ratification of resolution 12-2023, number 37, a resolution to amend various 2023 department fund budgets. This was a Scooby budget.
And we have,
I think we're gonna do them all at once. If you want to read all 4 of them.
Oh, okay. And also consider ratification of resolution 12-2023, number 38, a resolution to amend 2023 employee benefits fund budget for Taylor County, as well as ratification of resolution 12-2023, number 39, a resolution to amend 2023 general social services, capital projects, wastewater, jail enterprise, and fleet fund budgets. And finally, also consider ratification of resolution 12-2023, number 40, a resolution to amend the 2023 general road and bridge conservation trust, jail enterprise, and fleet fund budgets.
thank you. With that, we have the 4 resolutions in front of us. I'll open it up for public comment. Any public comment on these budget resolutions? Hearing none, what's the choice of the board on these combined issues?
You want to do it?
Sure. Mr. Chair, I move that we ratify resolutions 12-2023-37, that being a resolution to amend various 2023 fund budgets, that we additionally ratify resolution 12-2023-38, a resolution to amend 2023 employee benefits fund budget for Teller County, that we ratify resolution 12-2023-39, a resolution to amend 2023 general social services, capital projects, wastewater, jail, enterprise, and fleet fund budgets. And finally, that we ratify resolution 12-2023-40, that being a resolution to amend 2023 general road and bridge conservation trust, jail enterprise, and fleet fund budgets as presented.
I would second that motion.
Great. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
Roll call, Ms. Keys.
Mr. Stone,
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Campbell.
Yes. All right, that was item 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So we're up to the last commissioner item. Consider ratification of the appointment of Teller County Treasurer, Public Trustee Crystal Brown. In front of you, you have the notice of appointment pursuant to Article 14, Section 9 of the Colorado Constitution and Title 1, Article 12, 205 of the Colorado Revised Statutes. On December 19th, 2023, the Teller County Board of County Commissioners duly appointed Ms. Brown to serve as the Teller County Treasurer and Public Trustee to be effective upon taking office, which happened on January 2nd. And we need to ratify that in a general meeting because we did this appointment in a different meeting. So we're up for ratification of Ms. Brown's appointment. And then she swore in and took oath of office and is operating as the treasurer. It would be nice to accomplish this.
And Mr. Chair, I just want to make a comment that I think we all will speak the same, but for me, Crystal, full faith and confidence in you. Having replaced Mark Salusta, who's big shoes to fill, but you'll fill those shoes well. She's impeccable qualifications, a long history of customer service, serving this county, putting the needs of this county first, from the time you were an accounting person in the casinos all the way time through, time and clerk and reporter during some contentious elections. You showed real strength of character, and while at the same time being kind to residents and answering questions. There's quite a bit of money that passes through the clerk and recorder's office and well, I mean, in a previous job, and there'll be quite a bit of capacity to your current. So as far as technical skills, ability to handle the job and talk to us. And we do know that you'll be up for election along with Eric Stone and I have full faith and confidence that you'll pull that. So you have our support, and thank you, man. Thanks for stepping forward.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I'd just like to, certainly echo Commissioner Williams' comments of, thrilled that, the person of Crystal's caliber decided to apply. I know that after, serving 2 terms as clerk and recorder, you have to think a lot whether you want to step back up and be the face, that's in the lights. Sometimes it's easy to certainly stay as, as number 2 in the clerk and recorder's office, but we had a need in the county, and in small counties, finding exceptional quality people can be difficult. I was actually very thrilled with the that we had 3 really good applicants for treasurer and public trustee, and I believe any one of them actually could have been successful in doing the job, which in some ways it made our job harder, because sometimes when you look at appointees, it's like, it's really obvious that, well, this is it. And ultimately, we did get to where it became obvious to us that you were the right person for the job at the right time. And so again, I want to thank you for past service, but also thank you for stepping up again to serve the residents of Teller County.
Thank you.
Again, with probably being redundant, my words echo what my 2 fellow commissioners said. I'm very happy with you stepping up and applying for this job, and I have confidence you do that. And we're always around for assistance based on the new role, new job, no matter your experience in whatever subject matter. It takes some time to get to know everything. We're here for advice and information if you ever need it. And I thank you so much for stepping up, and I'm looking forward to your great job in the next few years as our Teller County Treasurer and Public Trustee.
Well, thank you. I would like to thank you all for the opportunity to do this job. I look forward to serving the citizens. I love the citizens of Teller County, and I am wholeheartedly ready to jump in. And from the bottom of my heart, I would just like to say thank you for choosing me. So thanks so much.
Thank you, Crystal.
Okay, we have to ratify.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to ratify the appointment of Crystal Brown as the Teller County Treasurer and Public Trustee.
I'd happily second, Mr. Chair.
I'll happily third it. No, I'm sorry. Roll call, Ms. Keys.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Williams? Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
We're all tickled.
Tickled and thrilled.
All right, I think that finishes our regular commissioner items. We now have commissioner business items to complete, which are MOUs and some agreements. So Mr. Herzog, you were up.
Thank you, sir. Before you are the business items for the January 11th, 2024 Commissioner meeting. Geospatial Alliance. So this is one of those where we collaborate with a bunch of other entities, try to split the cost, almost like buying a whole pizza when you only want a slice. I think in the original work session that this came out of, one of the pieces that we were looking for was the total estimate of this project is $175,226.95. The portion that is the Teller County responsibility will be $15,828.40. So to reduce our costs. So
You don't have 60 pages of the agreement.
this is because it's about 45 pages of the other 15 pages.
This is an annual, not an annual project. I think it's every 3 or 4 years. They fly the Pikes Peak region and help us create the maps and cartography for the area. And we participate as an agency as long as with Colorado Springs Utilities, El Paso County, E911 in Teller County. So it's a mapping service that we get the flight services for. So before you, any questions, gentlemen, on this?
No, sir.
No, sir.
All right, your choice.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the memorandum of understanding MOU for the Pikes Peak Geospatial Alliance PPGA. as
Second.
presented.
Roll call, Ms. Keys.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Okay, item number 2 is a independent contract for our professional service agreement. This is for valuation services for casino or casino related properties. Used in the past, the amount, contract amount is for $31,500. Our elected assessor is in the room. It's a pretty straightforward agreement. We're just looking to renew it for next year. Settle them as they go out and get an independent.
It's a unique set of properties, obviously being casinos, and it takes some special talents and some special expertise that we sometimes have in the office, but it's always great to have a contractor assist us in this process. What would be the choice of the board on this PSA?
Mr. Chairman, I'd move to approve the professional services agreement with R. Yorkberg Associates LLC as presented, along with any modifications requested by the contractor and approved by the county attorney.
Second the motion, Mr. Chair.
Ms. Keys, roll call please.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Project name, this is another professional service agreement with WIC, or Women, Infants and Children. If you go fast forward into attachment A for scope of services, you'll see primary, this is to conduct visits with select WIC clients, including intake assessment, computer entry, printing, food instruments, WIC check scheduling, and assisting with coverage for the WIC coordinator. We'll also meet with high-risk clients to provide any additional nutritional counseling referrals that may be needed. High-risk consultation may take place in person or via telephone. This contract for the hourly rate is $40.
Questions or concerns?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Would be the pleasure board on this PSA.
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the professional services agreement PSA with Kelly Steigel, DBA Kelly Steigel Enterprise as presented, along with any modifications as requested by the contractor. Approved by the county attorney.
Second.
Roll call, Ms. Keys.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Moving on to number. This is a 3-year agreement, which can be canceled. It's with our SRI. Oh, 40, sorry. Yes. Forward. You may take it, is number 4 will be. This is the appointments. Appointment with deputy district attorney. There are 5 of them. Austin Anderson, Evan Fear, Grant Biggs, Robert Anders, and Tracy McKay. You know, our attorney has vetted them through to make sure that we're able to practice law in the state of Colorado. My only caveat, it would take them all as one package. There is a salary discrepancy with based on experience. The first one, Austin Anderson, comes in at a higher rate than the other ones. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but I believe it's on experience.
That is based on experience for the first individual, and then the rest of them are at the starting deputy DA rate of $79,380.
That everyone knew he was a JAG in the Air Force and a few more years experience.
Probably got a little bit more pay because of the Air Force versus the Army. If you've been an Army JAG, you'd be a different pay rate.
It's true.
It is, that I believe that District Attorney Allen, several years ago, had a significant bump for their starting salaries, the DAs. And he's been able to, I think, attract a lot of new lawyers, and that's a great starting point for someone's career.
All right, assuming no other questions, what's your choice on approval of appointment with ADAs?
I don't have any questions.
I don't even sure.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the appointment of Austin Anderson, Evan Furr, Grant Biggs, Robert Anders, and Tracy McKay for deputy district attorney as presented.
Second motion, Mr. Chair.
Roll call, Ms. Keys.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Thank you. Now moving on to number 5, apologize for the. This is with SRA, or the Environmental System Institute for our information technology, has requested this. This would be requested to be approved. $28,400 each year, total of $85,200. That's based on our subscription of our population being under 25,000. This has to do, my understanding, Paul, this is with the GIS stuff.
The software for the GIS system. We need to line up.
Yeah.
Any questions or concerns?
No, I think what Paul said is correct. I mean, we use it all the time in our fires, you know, in studies, code enforcement, you name it. So cost of doing business.
It's cheaper than our own satellite.
That's true.
All right, what would be your choice on this IGA?
Mr. Chair, I move that we authorize our Information Technology Director to sign a 3-year contract agreement with the Environmental Systems Research Institute, known as ESRI, as presented.
Second?
Roll call, Ms. Keith.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Moving on to number 6, this is just a alert to disposal of some of our assets. So the department, some obsolete computer software, as well as some phone equipment. It's listed on the back as warrant request software. And also our KX TV S100 Divide PH phone system. It's amazing what some of that. I'm gonna throw that.
Choice on this asset disposal.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the fixed asset disposal request from the IT department for the KX TBS 100 Divide phone system and warrant request software.
Second the motion, Mr. Chair.
Ms. Keys, roll call, please.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Moving on is to a intergovernmental agreement for mutual and automatic in response to wildland fire and emergencies within Teller County. The proposed parties or agencies in the agreement are Teller County Sheriff, Teller County Office of Emergency Management, City of Cripple Creek Fire Department, Divide Fire Protection District, Florissant Fire Protection District, Lake George Fire Protection District, Mountain Communities Fire Protection District, Northeast Teller County Fire Protection District, Southern Park County Fire Protection District, City of Victor, and Victor Fire Department. Again, this is to provide aid in the response to emergencies. I would just like to caveat real quick just how much.
I was gonna say the speed of bureaucracy to get all this
Starting in September.
Yeah.
So those signatures be on the back of all. And then to get it on a meeting before you. Yes.
15 agencies have signed and we're the last one to
Yep.
signature to it. So
Before you do it, so very happy to bring those
Are we
forward.
gonna start this again in 6 months for the next one or? Yeah.
Yeah, because it does. I'm not sure I saw a date.
There's no,
Changes, so
there's no date, but each of the 30-day out if they want to get out of this.
Days from us or 30 days from them, second.
Anyone who assigned this can terminate it with
30-day notice.
30-day notice.
All right, what would be your choice on this IGA agreement?
You know, and I'll make the motion. You know, we got to for the record, Mr. Chair, that so I chair the Wildland Fire Council. These guys are all members of it, and this really is a legal fiduciary and operational document. It was a Clean Park County, and so for us being responsible for life, health, safety, pretty important. As Bob and Eric both said, it's good to see everybody signed up, and I'm sure it will be easy in the summer, unfortunately. So I make a motion that we approve the intergovernmental agreement IGA for mutual aid and automatic aid response to wildland fire emergencies within Teller County.
Second.
Thank you, gentlemen. Roll call, Ms. Keats.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
On before you is the Got the CHA, I was looking, it's the Colorado Hospital Association, so this is getting them access into, network where all the information is stored. This would be authorizing our public health director to sign this for this agreement to get broadband services. I know it's been quite a bit of work to get to this point to get our system up, but they're pretty excited to be able to have one.
Is a public health authorization to sign.
Correct, sir. You know,
Questions?
No questions.
Would be your choice on this agreement, gentlemen.
It's your turn.
I did the IG.
On my turn?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll do this one. Yeah, exactly. So I would move to approve the broadband services agreement with Colorado Center for Advancement of Patient Safety. Do we need to have the authorize modifications?
This is not typical independent.
Okay, then that's my motion.
Second motion, sir.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
moving on is the consideration of MOU, for Laura G. Osher. That's required. Got no concerns. First medical officer.
Yeah, we see Dr. Proctor in our public health meeting. She's quite the advisor to Michelle Wolf, our Director of Public Health. And because of the clarifications in state law, we need a medical director to be her backup and to have a medical advisor. So this is our agreement with her to become our medical officer for the public health. Any questions from the commissioners?
No, I just appreciate her continued willingness to serve. She's been an incredibly valuable asset to the Board of Health since we've come on.
Yep.
I agree. She always asks very valuable questions and gives us great advice and adds value to that process. So thank you for taking this process and being our medical director. Be the choice of the board.
So I move that we approve the member of understanding MOU with Laura G. Boxer, medical doctor, as the medical officer for Teller County.
Second?
The motion and second, roll call, please.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Moving on to item number 10 is consideration approval of the clinical educational agreement with the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs. You'll see that this agreement is for a 3-year term. November 5th of 2026. And either party can with our public health for the schooling responsibilities.
I think it helps the nursing students. FL get their clinical kind of rotations while there's.
Any questions?
No, sir.
No questions.
All right, what would be the,
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve the clinical education agreement with the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs as presented.
Mr. Williams?
Second motion, sir.
all right, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Me too.
I wasn't.
Moving on to number 11, consideration approval of First Amendment to the Cancer Prevention and Early Detection Agreement with UC Health Spikes Regional Hospital. If I'm reading this right, it was to delete the phrase including blanket contractual liability insurance, and section 8.2 shall be deleted in its entirety, where the contractor shall furnish certificates of such insurance to Aaron Munzer, administrative assistant, prior to performance of this agreement. So
And just point of order, Mr. Chair, is we have a new person now in public health, that replaces Karen Mutzert, so we just need to replace that with, I'm trying to think of who that.
Whoever that name is, it's just.
Yeah, there's a couple ways to do it. This is not hard. That would be the way to update the form that was presented to us.
Okay, and they had just changed the insurance. I think we can just change that to provide it to, I mean, to the department versus an individual.
Yep.
Or you want to make a motion to include that
Yeah.
amendment?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the first amendment to the cancer prevention early detection agreement with UCL Pikesville Regional Hospital with the addition of striking Karen Munster as no longer an employee. And I guess replacing that with department.
Yes, sir.
That works.
Second?
All right, it's been motion and second, and roll call, Ms. Keys.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Williams? Mr. Campbell?
Yes. Stephen Zent agreement.
All right, moving on to number 12. This is agreement, our Teller County Department of Human Services for our special the services. I want to say, look at this. There was to 180,000 plus approved secretarial and hourly services and any other the way it's billed. Questions on the way it was.
Yeah, I think with the revisions to it, the form in front of you is consistent with the underlying. So he breaks that contract out to the child support services, and then the other one is the adult protective cases. He's a very experienced, very well-respected attorney in that field, and the county's lucky to have him.
I think we've had Mr. Zent since I've been around as our special county attorney for social services, so it's quite dependable and excellent to work with. Any questions or concerns from?
No, sir.
Just to clarify, this would be the attorney that represents our Department of Health Services. There, please.
Considered a special county attorney.
Yes.
Which is different than our very special county attorney.
Thank you for that clarification.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the professional services agreement with Steve C. Zentz, along with any modifications requested by the contractor and approved by the county attorney.
Second motion, sir.
All right, it's been motion and second, roll call please.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Moving on to number 13. This is, we do have our Teller County Clerk and Recorder in the room, but this was an award of a grant for the amount of $299,650 that are success. Take a lot of our documents into what. Want to clarify that more?
Yeah, we have about 25,000 documents that are scanned. They're electronic, but they haven't been indexed, so they're not searchable electronically. So we have contracted with an outside source that is going to do that for us.
The state's gonna help us pay for it.
And the state has pretty much paid for it. We get an estimate and submit it within our grant, and we rewarded the full amount. I cannot take any credit for that grant. That started a very, very long time ago when Crystal Brown was clerk and recorder, so she secured that, and I just happened to be in office when it. So
Congratulations to your department for doing this. I know at different times we've had challenges computerizing and digitizing some of these documents, and it's nice that we get assistance in paying for it. So thank you so much.
And also, you know, the known risk of paper documents inside buildings. It's,
Down before.
yeah, I know that there's a lot of courthouses around the country that have burned down and all of the records with them.
Or flooding.
Yeah, or flooding. And so this is an important step in order to preserve the documents.
All right, what would be choice on this agreement, acceptance of the grant?
Mr. Chair, I move that we accept the grant from the Electronic Recording Technology Board, Colorado Department of State as written.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Williams? Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to number 14, this is an amendment to the independent contractor professional service agreement. This is our food service that we do in our detention center. And because I'm like, we just
did this, yeah.
But I'm keeping. It did go up and food is going up in price. You'll see that I was happy to see that they did list the current price as well as what things had changed to and percent, across the board, there's some everything had been except for the religious services, so.
I believe, sir.
I would move to approve the amendment to the professional services agreement with Summit Food Service LLC, along with any modifications requested by the contractor and approved by the county attorney.
Second the motion, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. It's been motioned and seconded. Roll call, please.
Mr. Stone?
Yes,
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
and for the record, if I didn't say PSA with Summit Food Service LLC, that's what I meant to do.
I think you said it, I did not say it, but you.
I did not say it. I was like, did I actually say it? No, I said it.
All right, any additional items?
No additional matters have been received after the deadline, sir.
All right, great. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a long meeting, but our organizational meeting is one of those each year that do take some additional time. Let alone the turn of the calendar presents a lot of contracts that have to be renewed and revisited once a year. So thank you so much. With that, I have 11:56. We'll adjourn this regular meeting of the Teller County Board of